Hey guys, good morning. क्या हाल है? How are you all doing? How are you all doing? Good morning, very good morning, everyone. Who all are here? Good morning, sir. Eagerly waiting for your session. Good morning, sir. Nice to meet you. We are waiting for a long time. Good morning, sir. We are glad to have you. We have been demanding for you since a long time. अच्छा, आवाज दूर तक गई नहीं तुम्हारी? How are you all doing, guys? How are you all doing? Very good morning to you all. Just confirm, can you see me? Can you hear me loud and clear? And then we will get started with the session. Mahadev says, welcome back. हाँ जी दोस्तों, yes guys. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Fatafat, can you hear me? All right, guys. All right. Chalo. We will get started with our today's session. For those who all know me already, hey, hi. And for those who don't know me, let me just quickly introduce myself. I don't have a PPT or something, ठीक है? But let me just quickly introduce myself. My name is Shubham Singhal. मैं और बाकी सब चीजें नहीं लिखूंगा. I'll just write this. My name is Shubham Singhal and I am a chartered accountant. I cleared my CA final back in November 2018 and I secured an All India rank 4 in the finals. And I have done my articleship from Deloitte Haskins and Sales in the statutory audit department. And after that, it's been like 3 years and I have a lot of work experience. And I am a professor of CA final law and also CA inter law. All right. So here I am to teach you some chapters which you must be aware of. But today, currently, we are going to read one chapter, which is your chapter 5, which talks about acceptance of deposit. All right. I think there will always be some lag between when you write and when I receive it. But nevertheless, good morning, guys. Good morning. Anita says, we miss you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. So sweet. So sweet. Chalo guys, we will get started with our today's session. What is our today's class all about? We are going to read a very important chapter, which is chapter 5, acceptance of deposit by the company. Okay. First of all, tell me how many chapters are done for law. I'm sure chapter 1, 2, 3, 4 are already done. What about the remaining chapters? What have you done chapter 7 also? Have you by any chance completed chapter 7 also? Have you by any chance completed chapter 7 also? Tell me, bolo. Bolo, bolo. Oh my God, you got AIR. Very nice, sir. Sneha Gupta says. Thank you, Sneha. Guys, listen to me now. Are you done with your chapter 7 or are you just done with chapter 1, 2, 3, 4? All right. Chalo. So it will be very safe on my part to assume that you know few basic things, but at the same time, whatever is necessary to be explained that I'll cover in the class. But if you need any additional information, if you don't understand anything, feel free to just ask me. Okay. Feel free to ask me and I'll cover those concepts also. Now, coming to your 5th chapter, acceptance of deposit by the company. What is this chapter all about, sir? A very small chapter. It comes in your exam for about 4 to 6 marks. And if you prepare it well, it'll hardly take 20 minutes or 30 minutes on the day before your exam to revise, and you'll score 4 to 5 marks out of it. You'll easily score 4 to 5 marks out of it. So this is something which you should learn by heart, and along with me finish in the class only. We'll go into very much detail, and let me just show you something. I wanted you to understand how to make notes, okay? Because not everyone has the potential to make notes. Just so I wanted you to understand how exactly should you make notes for yourself when you're reading, okay? And hence, in this class, I'll share this one notes with you, in which for one particular section, I have made the full notes as to everything that is covered in your module, and 100% coverage of just one section. This one section is very long. It is as long as one chapter. Okay. So I've made these notes with you. I'll share these notes with you on your wherever you get it from the ICI channel, and you can take this section as a reference and then understand how notes are being made. To the extent possible, I'll give you the notes, but where I cannot give you handwritten notes, you can make it on your own. But this is just for your reference as to how should you make notes. Okay. Now, where will we be reading the material? What will be our base material? So if you see this, let me show you this. This is a PDF that I'll be sharing with you. Okay, this PDF in fact has actually already been uploaded on the ICICA site, wherever you get all your notes. I have already uploaded it there. You can go and download this notes. This is chapter 5, acceptance of deposit, which is very comprehensively covered in just 10 pages, 9.5 I would say, because in ICI module it is about 17-18 pages. I have covered all the concepts in an organized manner in just 10 pages. Okay, so these notes will be the basis for reading in our classes also, and for your last day revision also. So if you know me by any chance, for any reason, my notes for CA final law are very well known for last day revision, right? So for inter also, these notes are under preparation. Chapter 5 is already done. Chapter 1 to 4 was also shared in the previous batch. I'll also share it with you if you want, let me know. And chapter 5 will be done. Next, chapter 6 also will be done, and chapter 8 also will be done. And if you need other notes also, do let me know. We'll just finish them. But for the time being, chapter 5 notes have already been uploaded. You can download it, and this will be your base sheet for your reference. And using this, you can revise on your last day also, because this is very comprehensive, trust me. Okay, now let's just get started. Too much of introduction. Shuru kare? Are you guys here? Shuru kare? Pooja says, I only done with chapter 1, 2, 3, 4 from your last batch lecture. Then why did you, after that, what did you do? What did you do after that? But guys, should we start? Are you here? Should we start? I don't have chapter 7 ke notes handy, but we'll make it. If you want it, we'll make it. Okay. Bolo, should we start? Are you guys here? Who all are here? Come on. If you don't reply, I'll feel like I'm talking to walls. I don't want to talk to wall. Come on. Bolo, bolo, kuch to bolo, muh to kholo. All right. Good response. Chalo. Guys, let's get started. Now tell me something. Why are you becoming CA? Why do you want to become CA? Because you want to become CA and then you'll start earning money, right? You will, once you become CA, you'll start earning money. So now assume a scenario that you became CA and your package is rupees 12 lakh per month. Per annum, boss, per annum your package is 12 lakh. Okay, you are earning 12 lakh rupees per annum. So which is, you are earning 1 lakh rupee per month. Okay, now what will you do with this money? You want this money to grow, right? You want this money to earn, and all of us have read Rich Dad Poor Dad, right? So we know that we have to grow this money. How will you grow this money? There are multiple things that you can do. What are those things? One, you can say that I'll go to bank and I'll deposit this money as an FD. Fixed deposit. I'll go to the bank, I'll give them this money, I'll say fixed deposit, no tension, chindi return, small risk, zero risk. That is one option. But this is a very bad option. Why? Because banks will give you 4% or 5% per annum return, and at present the inflation is 7%. Inflation 7%. Hey, you're getting just 4% return. Your money is deteriorating. Okay, so this is not a good option. What other options do you have? I'll go and I'll invest in mutual fund. I don't understand mutual fund right now, but I'll understand mutual fund and then I'll invest my money in my mutual fund. Fair enough, good option. But you cannot put all your eggs in one basket. We have read in school, right? You should not put all your eggs in one basket. So you will have to diversify. You'll have to invest in different businesses. What else can you do? I will then go and invest in stock market, which is equity market. I'll go and invest in stock market. But when you invest in mutual fund or when you invest in stock market, you will have to understand there is an element of risk. There is a lot of risk which is involved in your investment, because your investment did not necessarily go up. It can also go down, right? But I want a little safe investment wherein I'm getting decent return and decent risk. So one more option that is available in the market is that you go to a company like, say, Reliance, or you go to a company like Tata, or you go to a company like Godrej, and you say that, boss, I don't want to invest in your equity. I don't want to invest in your shares because your shares can also go down. I want to give this money as a loan to you. You keep this money as a loan and then give me fixed returns. What are you saying to these companies? You're saying to these companies that I want to give a loan to you. You take this money and you give me fixed return. So now loan can be taken in two forms. One is what? Debenture, which you must have read in your chapter 4. Which section? Can anyone say debenture? Which section? Bolo, kuch to bolo. Arey kuch to bolo. Which section debentures? Arey, please tell me the section number, guys. Everyone knows law. You will have to buy out these section numbers also. Which section number? Arey, bolo, bolo. Okay, screen is not visible. 1 second. Screen is not visible. 1 second. Until then, 10B, what is debentures ka section? Can you see my screen now? Okay, so debenture is section 71, boss. Section 71 is debenture. Why are people saying section 42? Why is Deepak Goyal saying section 42? No, boss, section 71 talks about debenture. So whatever money the company got, we can be also considered as debenture. There is one more name to it. You can alternatively not issue debentures, but you can talk about deposits. The money that I or you, after becoming CA, you would give to the company as a loan will be considered as deposit. Now, please understand, deposit is a little bit of problem. Why is it a problem, sir? So can you tell me Companies Act, which year was Companies Act brought into picture? In which year was Companies Act actually implemented? So first the Companies Act came in the year 1950. Arey bolo bolo, kuch to bolo, muh to kholo. 1956. And after 1956, it was amended and a new Companies Act was brought into picture in the year 2013. So a lot of things changed between Companies Act 1956 and 2013, and one of the major important changes between two acts was about deposit. Deposit is something which earlier was very okay. We were like, go take deposit, no problem at all. You take how many deposits you want to take, but there were people who were doing wrong things with the deposits. I'll tell you, those who understand business, hear me out. Thoda sa sunna, thoda sa. Listen to me. What used to happen? For example, there is a company XYZ. Okay, the case with XYZ was it had a revenue of say 1000 crore. Okay, and in front of the revenue it had expenses of 900 crore. Okay, so the net profit used to come to 100 crore. Okay, now if you report the net profit of 100 crore, what will happen? Please understand. If you report this 100 crore, you will have to pay taxes. You'll have to pay taxes. Roughly 30% taxes you will have to pay, and 30 crore straight away will go into taxes. Now this XYZ company didn't want to pay these taxes. It didn't want to pay these taxes because it just wanted to save some money, because 30 crore is not a joke, yeah. So what it decided to do, it said that I'll not show a revenue of 9,000 crore. Instead, I'll show a revenue of 900 crore only. And against that revenue of 900 crore, I'll show revenue expenses of 900 crore. So my net profit will be zero. And in front of this net profit zero, I'll not have to pay any taxes. Okay, it decided to understate its revenue. Now, when you are saying you will understate your revenue, but for this 1000 crore, you must have received money in your bank account. आपके बैंक में तो पैसे आए होंगे ना? You must have received money in your bank account. So how will you manage that? So what they used to do was they used to go to some person, okay, and say, "Ki boss, can you just give me some deposit?" So this person used to say yes. This person has altogether different intention, but it said yes, I'll give you. He said yes, I'll give you some. I'll give you what? I'll give you some deposit. So XYZ took rupees 100 crore deposit from this person and showed it in his balance sheet that we have received this 100 crore as a deposit. It is not my revenue, but it is a deposit for me. So with this, what used to happen was they are showing a revenue of 900 crore and the remaining 100 crore, which by the way is their revenue, they are showing it as deposit. And wo paise lenge bank account mein, they'll take the money in bank account and they'll refund the money in cash. So with that kind of approach, they used to show this 100 crore as deposit in the books and end up showing zero profit and zero taxes. So deposit is something which people used to misuse a lot. And there is a second reason also what is the problem with deposit. Now understand, when you as a normal person go to bank, okay, and you go to bank and you ask them to do FD. The bank does FD for a rate of 4%. Now this bank then goes to company to give loan. Because company needs money, so company will go to bank and bank will give that loan at a rate of 7%. So in this, the bank used to earn 3% margin. But now when the person is directly going to the company, it is getting a return of say 6%. But the intermediary, which is bank, is not gaining anything. So it is not also good for the banks that directly money is being given to the company. Right? So there are multiple factors which comes into picture when you're talking about deposit, and hence it becomes a very important to strict the provisions related to deposits. Are you getting me? How sleepy are you? On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest. ध्यान से सुनना, 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest. How sleepy are you? I am the 10 sleepy boss. I am the 10. Trick question है. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest and 10 being the highest, how sleepy are you? हाँ, तुम थोड़ी देर रुक जाओ अंकित, नालायक सुनोगे तुम. Guys, how sleepy are you? Sir, for those who are sleeping, they will not even bother to respond. Only those people will respond, who are 1 or 2 or 3. For those who are at 10, they'll not respond only. Guys, okay, listen to me. So what was I saying? I was saying about deposits. Okay, now deposits are something which is very crucial to the company, and it is also to the person who is investing their hard-earned money. Now let's talk about Ankit. Ankit is 10. The number that he chose was 10. So Ankit is very sleepy. Now let's talk about Ankit. What Ankit did was, Ankit became a CA and he wanted to invest some money. He wanted to deposit some money. Okay. Now, not even sleepy. Your class is so interesting. We can't feel sleepy. Thank you, but meri baat suno. Listen to me. Listen to me. Now Ankit became a CA and he wanted to invest his money, so he decided to give a deposit. Now what I've done is, let's talk about deposit. Okay, now deposit, this chapter, the name of this chapter is acceptance of deposit by companies. Okay, so when company is accepting deposit, only then we have a concern, and this company usually is not banking company. We are not talking about banks, we are not talking about NBFCs, because their daily job is to take deposit and give loan, right? So we are not talking about banks, we are not talking about non-banking financial companies, we are talking about a normal company. So when I say normal company, imagine a scenario, I'm talking about Reliance Industries Limited, or imagine a scenario, I'm talking about Tata Group. Okay, now, why did I take these two different companies? Because if you know, Reliance Industries Limited is a public company. Of course, sir, of course, Reliance Industries Limited is a public company. There are so many shareholders of Reliance Industries Limited. It is obviously a public company. But can you tell me, what is Tata Group? Is it a public company or is it a private company? Is Tata Group, such a big company, is it a public company or private company? The answer is Tata Group is a private company. Tata Group is a private company. You must be knowing, if you read newspaper at all, which by the way you should, if you must be reading newspaper at all, you must be knowing that when there was a dispute between Ratan Tata and Cyrus Mistry, there was a case which came up, Ratan Tata versus Cyrus Mistry. If you don't know it, put it as your homework and go home and read today what happened between Cyrus Mistry and Ratan Tata. But when there was a dispute between Ratan Tata and Cyrus Mistry, Ratan Tata made a master stroke and he converted the Tata Group from public company to private company, and because of just that one move, it won a very big case. Okay, so if you don't know already, just go and read about it. But Tata Group, by the way, is a private company. Okay, now when we are talking about public company and private company, the rules related to deposit will be different. Okay, now there are two types of company. I said public company and private company. Now can you tell me, what are the kind of people from whom you can raise deposits? What are the type of people from whom you can raise deposits? I'll tell you. Sir, one, you can raise deposit from your own members. Members as in what? In Reliance Industries Limited, Mukesh Ambani, Neeta Ambani, Isha Ambani, Akash Ambani, the whole family, all of them are shareholders. Even I am shareholder. You must be shareholder. All of us are members of the company. Okay, we have already invested in equity of the company. So now when you are members of the company and you go to that company and say, bhai mera deposit le lo, in that case, there will be a different law. But if you are not members, then there will be other public also. There are other public also who are not members of the company, but they are willing to give their deposits, right? So who do you think should be allowed to give deposits? Who do you think should be allowed to give deposits? Let me explain. Sir, Reliance is a company which has issued shares, and there are members who have already subscribed to the shares of that company. Matlab, they have already invested in the company, they have taken a risk in the company. So if you are already members and you have taken a risk to invest in equity of that company, then I'm sure you will not have any problem in investing in the deposits, in investing in the deposits of the company. If you have already invested in equity, why can't you invest in debt? You should be very free to go and invest in debt. But when you're going to external public who are not your members, for example, Ratan Tata does not hold share of Reliance, for example. So in that case, if he is not invested in equity, and if you're going and asking Ratan Tata, will you please give us some deposit? Then in that case, law will intervene and say, Ruk ja bhai, ruko zara, sabar karo, we have some strict laws for you. Similarly, when you come to Tata Group also, there are two kind of people, right? One which is members, and the other one which is public. And again, the same logic, when you're going to member, everything is fine because they are already your members, just go and take money from them. But if you are going to public, we will stop you, or we will impose restrictions on you. Based on that restriction, you can go to public. Did you understand? Okay, sir, we did understand. Now coming to my notes. Do you see this chart? Do you see this chart? This is a very important chart, and you need to buy hard this in your mind and also make it in your notes. I don't know if you were making notes until your last class, but here is a humble request to you. Listen to me very carefully. Here is a humble request. Please make notes along with the classes for every subject. Not only just law, but for every subject that you're reading, because there are multiple reasons why that helps. Number one, you stay focused in your class. You stay attentive, and you are actually, see boss, I'll tell you something. When you are sleepy in a class, it is equally both people's work to make you wake up, teachers also and students also. Matlab ye aapki bhi responsibility and meri bhi responsibility hai that you don't sleep, right? But how do you take care of your responsibility? That also I'll tell you. How will you decide? How will you ensure that you don't sleep? You have to make notes, because when you're listening to something, your brain is only being utilized 30%. Okay. So what about the remaining 70%? It is sleeping. So you're getting attracted towards sleep. Now what you have to do is you have to occupy your brain even more. So there are multiple ways to do it. You start making notes along with the classes. How do you make notes? Nothing. Whatever you're listening, whatever you're understanding, just keep scribbling it down in your notes. Whatever format it is, whatever handwriting it is, doesn't matter. But it has to be the best format possible from your end, best handwriting possible from your end, so that your mind is occupied and you are grasping more than you normally would. Or any other student जो ऐसा सिर पे हाथ रख के ऐसा बैठा है, he's like Netflix से चलाओ भाई. वो ऐसा there is Pankaj Tiwari का one scene ना, play music. You don't have to sit like that. It is not a Netflix series. You will have to put in efforts to remember things and understand things. Okay, so make notes. One, write down whatever it is possible. It may happen that you skip some things, you're not getting time to write it. That's fine. You can write it down later when you're reading at your home, but right now you will have to make notes. Okay. And second most important thing is, you don't understand, but what happened to me in CA final was, when I was taking classes, I used to scribble down everything that I used to hear, right? I used to just keep writing it down. And after I was done with 3 chapters, 4 chapters, I realized that this is an amazing summary notes for me. And I just spent a day to upgrade those notes. I filled in concepts whichever I had missed in class, and boom, I had a summary notes for myself, right? Without even putting the same effort again, I just had a summary notes to revise. And it did not necessarily be for all the chapters. It can just be for, say, company law. For company law, because company law is very important that way. So it can just be for company law, right? So please make notes. Please get up. If you want to sleep, sleep completely. Matlab, close everything and just go and sleep. But if you don't want to sleep, read completely. Don't sleep at all. Okay? Whatever you're doing, do it 100% or don't do it. Okay? Now listen to me. Talking about deposits, sir, deposits, we will talk about 2 different kinds of company. One is public company, one is private company. Okay. Now, public company will further be divided into eligible public company and non-eligible public company. We will come to that. But before we come to that, you see, there is public company, private company. Now, when you talk about accepting deposit from your own members who are already a member of your company, you see there is a tick in all the 3 cases. That is, you are allowed to accept deposit from your members. There is no restriction. Your public company or private company, your eligible company or ineligible company, no restriction at all. If you are asking deposits from your members, just go ahead and take it. There are certain steps which you will have to follow. But when you're going to the public. And when I say public, I mean public other than your members, those people who have not invested in the shares of your company. If you're going to those people, how will you manage? Then in that case, law says that if you're going to external public, only eligible company, public company can raise money. Ineligible public company or private company cannot raise money in the form of deposit. Sir, let me just explain this to you. Let me take a moment to explain this to you. Listen to me very carefully. Abhi tak bhi nahi suna to no problem, just wake up. Okay, listen to me very carefully. What am I saying? For a company, understand from a company's point of view. Understand from a company's point of view. Okay, let's talk about Reliance. Now, Reliance wants to raise money. Why does it wants to raise money? Because it has to do business. It has to purchase goods and sell goods. So to purchase good, you'll need money, right? So there is one way you can raise equity. You can raise equity. When people invest in your equity, they become members of your company. Right. The second way is that you can go to bank and you say bank give us 1 crore, 10 crore, 100 crore. Bank will either give you money or not give you money. But bank may charge you more interest. Bank may charge you more interest. So the third option is you go to public and you say public, give me some deposits. How will this work? The public will, for example, give you a deposit of 1 lakh rupees. And this 1 lakh, for example, they'll give for 3 years. And the interest will be say 7% per annum. This will be the understanding. Okay. Now the public will give you a deposit. Reliance will use this money, and at the end of 3 years, it will return the money. Now this public can be two public. One, those people who are already members of Reliance. The other who is other public, as in those who are not members. So if members are investing, we are absolutely fine. But if other than members people are investing, then in that case we will have to check whether Reliance is eligible to take money from public. So to be eligible, you have to satisfy 3 conditions. Either of the 3 conditions. First, you will have to be public company. Public company to hona hi padega. It is not negotiable. You will have to be public company. Why, sir? Why? Because you know what is private company? Private company is a closely held company. It means that not many people are interested in that company. Only selected few people are financially interested in that company. Do you agree with that? Do you agree to that the private company is closely held company? There are limited people involved in that company, correct? Now if you're saying I'll open a private company which is Tata Group Limited, and then I'll go to hundreds of people, thousands of people, lakhs of people asking them deposit, how will it be a private company here? In that case, so many people are invested in your company. No, it will not be a private company anymore. So law says that you will have to be a public company in order to accept deposit. If you are a private company, you can accept deposit, but only from your members. You cannot go to external public. Did you understand? Are bolo haan. Are say yes. See how I can just convert that Hindi into English. Guys, Archie, bolo. Did you understand the basic concept that deposit can be taken either by public company, private company, or it can be taken from members or shareholder or public? Now, if you're taking deposit from members, absolutely fine. There are nothing to be done. There are some process that you'll have to follow, and you can take member deposit from your members. But when it comes to public, you will only be able to take money if you're eligible public company. So now what is eligible public company? Can you tell us that? So one thing that I said about eligible company is that they have to be public company, definitely. The second thing is that you have to see if it is a very big company. What do you mean by big company, sir? Big company means it has net worth. It has net worth of 100 crores or more, or it has turnover of 500 crores or more. What did I say? A company which has a net worth of 100 crores or more, or a turnover of 500 crores or more, will be considered as what? Eligible public company. And once you become an eligible public company, you can do what? You can take money from your public also. Other than members, you can take money from public also. Sir, samjha kya? What is eligible company? Ek baar bolo na. Speak. Tell it from your mouth. Tell it from your own mouth. Say it from your own mouth. What is an eligible public company? An eligible public company is a company which has a net worth of 100 crore or more, or a turnover of 500 crore or more. Okay. Now tell me, I'll give you certain examples. Okay. Tell me if it is an eligible public company. Now the company's net worth, you will tell me whether it is EPC, eligible public company. Case 1. The net worth of this company is 90 crore. But the turnover is 501 crore. देखो ध्यान से, listen to me very carefully. The net worth is less than 100 crore. Net worth is less than 100 crore, but turnover is more than 500 crore. What is the limit, sir? The limit was 100 crore and 500 crore. Case 1, the net worth is 90 crore and turnover is 501 crore. Tell me whether it is an eligible public company. Mageshwaran, I am explaining it via example and now you will understand what is an eligible public company. Case 1, tell me whether it is an eligible public company. Let me just tell you quickly what is an eligible public company. A public company which either has a net worth of 100 crore or more or turnover of 500 crore or more will become an eligible company. Now, is it an eligible company? Yes, sir, this is absolutely an eligible company. Why? Because it is net worth or turnover. It is either or. Even if one limit is attracted, it becomes an eligible public company because we are just trying to identify big companies. We are just trying to identify big companies. So if your net worth is 90 crore, but your turnover is 501 crore, which is more than 500 crore, you become an eligible public company. Case 2, sir. Case 2. Your net worth is 110 crore and your turnover is 400 crore. Are you an eligible public company? Are you an eligible public company? Absolutely yes, sir. Same logic, because your net worth is more than 100 crore. Case 3, your net worth is 110 crore and your turnover is 550 crore. Are you an eligible public company? Yes, sir. यहाँ तो दोनों condition meet हो रहा है. There is a cherry on the cake. Both the conditions are being met. And case 4, if your net worth is 90 crore and your turnover is 490 crore, are you an eligible public company? Are you an eligible public company? The answer is no, because neither of the condition is breaching the limit. Even if you are a public company and you're not meeting this limit, you're not an eligible public company. Sir, what will happen if I'm an eligible company or not eligible public company? What will happen? What are the consequences? If you are an eligible public company, which is all the 3 cases, you can go and ask deposit from public also. Public as in public who are not your members. But if you're not an eligible public company, you can only take money from your members, not from the public in large. Public at large say you cannot take money, you can only take money from your members. Did you understand, sir? Coming back to my main chart, what is this chart all about? From whom can you accept deposit? Depends on whether you are a public company or private company. For private company, let's talk about private company first. From your members, you can always accept deposit. From any person other than members, bhul ja bhai. You cannot accept a single amount of deposit from them. But when it comes to public company, we will categorize it into 2 parts. Eligible public company, ineligible public company. Guys, eligible public company is a key word. It is a legal word. It is not something which I am making up. It is a legal word. When it comes in exam, you will have to write eligible public company. You cannot just write public company which is eligible or something. You'll have to write eligible public company. What is eligible public company? Eligible public company is someone basically whose net worth is more than 100 crore. Sir, yahin pe yaad kar lo. You are sitting here, you are investing your time, you are watching this video. Just by heart it right away. Net worth is 100 crore or more or turnover is 500 crore or more, you become an eligible public company. How does it differentiate? I'll tell you. Eligible public company can raise money from members. Members se to always you can raise, but you can also raise money from public. But if you're not an eligible public company, you will not be able to raise money from public. Did you get me? Did you understand? Did you understand? Did you understand? Did you understand? Arey bolo haan. Now listen to me very carefully. This was the whole base, and based on this, we will build our concepts. What is this chapter all about, sir? It is all about deposits. Now let's talk law. Okay, this was basic understanding. Let's talk law. This chapter starts from section 73 and it goes up to 74, 75, 76, 76A. So there are just 5 sections in this chapter and we will cover them all today. Okay, now let me cover a very easy section, section 75. This is not there in your law. This was removed in your law. So now we have only 4 sections left. सोचो अगर बाकी 4 भी ऐसे ही काटने मिल जाता. Imagine if you had to just cut all the remaining 4 also, like ये भी नहीं है, ये भी नहीं है. Now guys, listen to me very carefully. In these, out of these 4 sections, this section 73 And section 73 is very, 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 very important, and this is the whole chapter. 74 is very easy, 76A is very easy, but 73 and 76 is the key of this chapter, and you will have to understand just these two sections and everything else is done. In fact, if you understand section 73 properly, section 76 is just a replica. It's just a copy paste, almost a copy paste. So your whole focus should be on section 73. उसके बाद अपन सो जाएंगे भाई, मैं भी सो जाऊंगा. I'll also sleep. Okay. Until then, I'll be up. Will you be up? Yes, you will also be up. Now listen to me very carefully. What is section 73? What is this chapter all about, sir? Before I start, let me just tell you what is the definition of deposits. What is deposit? Tell me if you can see my screen. What is deposit? Deposit का meaning क्या है? Because this chapter is all about deposit, यार, acceptance of deposit by company. So what is a deposit? Deposit means deposit includes any receipt of money by way of deposit or loan or in any other form by a company, but does not include such categories of amount as may be prescribed in consultation with the RBI. So it includes one thing and it excludes one thing. What does it include? Receipts of any money by way of deposit or loan or in any other form by a company. If any company is taking money, it may be in the name of loan, it may be in the name of deposit, it will be considered as deposit. Okay, now but it does not include such amount as may be prescribed in consultation with RBI. Along with RBI, they will consult RBI and they'll prescribe some amount which will not be considered as deposit. Now this thing they took very seriously, sir. They consulted a lot with RBI and they came up with at least 16 line items which will not be considered as deposit. What does it mean, sir? For example, tell me something. My company's name is Reliance. My example, I'll consider Reliance to be my company. My company's name is Reliance. What do I do is I purchase goods and then I sell goods. Okay. Now imagine I went to Ankit. Actually Ankit came to Reliance and Ankit said that I want to go buy goods worth 1 crore. I want to buy goods worth 1 crore. I said done. But in order to make that goods for you, I will need an advance of 50 lakh rupees. Okay, I need an advance of 50 lakh rupees. Give me that 50 lakh rupees. I'll start buying your goods, and once that goods are with me, I'll give you, I'll deliver them to you, and you pay me the balance amount. So you are basically taking an advance of 50 lakh rupees. Now tell me logically whether this advance of 50 lakh rupees that you have taken from Ankit, is it a deposit or not? The amount of 50 lakh which you took from Ankit, is it a deposit or not? बोलो the 50 lakhs that you took from Ankit, why did you take this money? You took this money as an advance for supply of goods. Is this a deposit or not? The answer is no. It is not a deposit. It is not a loan. It is not a deposit. It is not anything of that sort. It is just an advance. So they had to bring certain exclusions and clarify that, boss, these things are not considered as deposit. What are those things, sir? There are a lot many things. Okay, there are so many things. You see, it starts here and it serial number 1 and it goes on till here, serial number 16. But you will understand it very logically. You don't have to by heart it. You just have to see the keywords here and then you will understand that what they are talking about. Okay, let me just tell you, what am I telling you, sir? What is deposit? Deposit is any money that you receive in form of deposit, loan or in any other manner, but certain things has been specifically excluded. That was ye deposit nahi hai. How did you decide? You decided in consultation with RBI and then you came up with a notification that, boss, these things are not deposit, and हमने बोल दिया ना, तो कह दिया बस, these things will not be considered as deposit. What are those things? Rule 2 of the Companies Act, acceptance of deposit by company. Deposit shall not include the following. Number 1, if you have received from government. What government, sir? If you have received any money from central government, state government, any local authority, these kind of money will not be considered as what? Deposits. So all you have to understand is, if you are receiving any money from the government, it will not be considered as deposits. Sir, even if the government is your member or public, it doesn't matter. If you are receiving any money from the government, it will not be considered as deposits. Second, if you are receiving from any foreign source. If you are receiving from any foreign government or foreign or international banks or multilateral financial institutions, sir, if you are receiving from any foreign source, it will not be considered as deposit, because they have specifically written that it will not be considered as deposit. Why, sir? Why will it not be considered as deposit? Because foreign source se jo paisa aata hai, the money that comes in from foreign source are governed under FEMA. And FEMA will take care of it. You don't have to take care of it as a Companies Act. So please forgive it. It is not deposit. Don't consider it under this chapter or these sections. So any money that you have received from foreign source will not be considered as what? Will not be considered as deposits. Third, if you have received from banks and PFI. Arey Baba, I am Reliance Industries Limited and SBI is giving me a loan of 100 crore. I'll consider it as deposit kya? Obviously not, na. It is a loan. It has a different nature. Deposit is basically what you take from members or public. It is not what you take from banks or public financial institution. So any amount that you have received from bank or public financial institution, it is not deposit. So amount received as a loan or facility as in CC facility, OD facility. There are a lot of facilities like overdraft facility, cash credit facility. If you're taking loan in these forms from any banking company or SBI or any subsidiary or cooperative bank or any public financial institution, in that case it will not be considered as what? It will not be considered as bolo deposit. What are we reading, sir? What are we reading? We are sleeping. We are not reading. Sir, what are we reading? We are reading what is the definition of deposit and what all will not be considered as deposit. So I said any money received from government, any money received from foreign sources, from banks, from public financial institutions, these will not be considered as deposits. Uske baad issue of CPs. Can anyone tell me the full form of CP? Does anyone here know the formula, full form of CP? What is CP? What is CP? अरे बोलो बोलो कुछ तो बोलो मुंह तो खोलो. What is CP? Sir, CP is commercial papers. What is commercial paper, sir? It is just an instrument. It is a form of instrument which you issue to the public, and against that instrument you take money. Like when you issue share certificate, you give share certificates and you take money. Similarly, you issue commercial papers and you take money. Now if you're issuing commercial paper or any other similar instrument and taking money, it will not be considered as deposit. Amount received against issue of commercial papers or any other instrument as per the RBI guidelines. Or some people actually knew it's commercial paper. Good. Or if you are taking any inter-corporate loan, inter-corporate deposits, as in what Reliance Industries Limited is going to say Tata Motors. Reliance Industries Limited is going to Tata Motors and saying, Tata Motors, if you have any extra money, give me. So that kind of inter-corporate borrowings or inter-corporate loan will not be considered as deposit. Any amount received by a company from any other company will not be considered as deposits. So sir, I think this is a little unique. This is a little unique because you are actually talking about inter-corporate loans. If I would have normally asked you that Tata Motor gave some money to Reliance Industry Limited in the name of deposit, will it be considered as deposits? If I would have normally asked you that Tata Motors gave money to Reliance Industries Limited in the name of deposit, question, is it a deposit? You would have said yes, but they have specifically covered this in exception that if a company is getting money from any other company, it will not be considered as deposits. It will be an inter-corporate loan. Nalayak Pooja कहती है cannot place. बताओ. खैर हमारे दिल्ली वाले सीपी के बारे में और सोच भी क्या सकते हैं. सही है, तुम्हारा भी बनता है. What is PFI? Ayush कह रहे हैं what is PFI? PFI is public financial institution. PFI is public financial institution. All you need to know is PFI is a kind of bank. ऐसा समझ लो. PFI is a kind of bank. You don't need to know more than that. Okay. Now, उसके बाद sir, application money. Does any of you know what application money is? Have you ever invested in an IPO, initial public offering? Have you invested in any IPO? There are so many IPOs that came in. LIC IPO recently came in, the biggest IPO. Have you ever invested in IPO? Now, how you invest in IPO right now has changed. Now, at present, how you invest in IPO has changed. The money gets blocked from your bank account. Okay. But Mayur Mittal is saying, sir, please elaborate on the reason behind 0.5. Good question, Mayur. Guys, Mayur is saying, if a company, Tata Motors, gave money to Reliance Industries Limited, why will we not consider this as a deposit? Why did you exclude this from the definition of deposit? Why? The answer is understand. Why are we trying to control deposit? My question is, why are we trying to control deposits? Because when Reliance Industries Limited raises money from human beings, what are they doing? They are investing their hard-earned money. So if I invest in some deposit, then I am investing my hard-earned money, right? Now, this hard earned money has to be taken care of. But if one company is investing in other company, I am sure that this company has a good team to do all the research. They'll do all the research whether Reliance Industries Limited is a safe company or not. And tomorrow, if Reliance defaults, that is if they fails to repay the deposit, then in that case, I'm sure Tata Motors will also have a legal team to go after Reliance Industries Limited and get their money back. But this normal human being will not have so much of resources to do the research or hire a legal team, right? So we are more concerned with these kind of people. So if these kind of individuals are investing it as deposit, but if a company is investing in other company, we will not consider it as deposit. We will not consider it in our provisions. Okay. Now coming back to where I was explaining you what is application money. What is application money? I'm very sure you know it. When you invest a share of a company, for example, the face value of the share is rupees 10. So now if you want to purchase the shares of this company, if you have to apply or subscribe for the shares, what you will have to do is you will initially have to give application money. What can be the application money? The application money can be, say, rupees 1. Now you'll give this rupees 1 to the company, then company will decide whether or not to allot shares to you. If they decide to allot shares to you, they'll call for the remaining 9 rupees. They can call the remaining 9 rupees in tranches, or they can call in one go, whatever that is a different story. But what is application money? Application money is a money that you give initially to subscribe to the shares of the company. Now, for example, if the company wants to issue 100 shares, okay, and it received 1,000 applications of rupees 1. As in, it had 100 shares, but there are 1,000 people who want to buy one share each. Then in that case, obviously it cannot issue to everyone. So it will select 100 people out of these 1,000. It will select 100 people to whom the shares will be issued, and to the balance 900 people, the application money will be refunded. The application money will be refunded. Did you understand? So this is a basic concept. I think we also read this in accounts. The point is, if a company has 100 shares of rupees 10 to be issued, okay, now it received application for 1,000 shares of rupees 1. 1,000 shares of rupees 1, as in rupees 1 is the application money. Once you confirm their allotment, they'll give you the remaining 9 rupees also. So you have application for 1,000 shares, but you only have 100 shares. So what you will do is the remaining 900 shares ka application money you will refund. And for the balance 100 shares, you will say that you guys have been selected. Shares will be allotted to you. Please pay the balance 9 rupees. Now tell me one thing. This rupees 1 that you received as an application, is it a deposit? Is it a deposit by any chance? No, sir, it is not a deposit. How can it be deposit? It is not a deposit, and hence that is what they have written. Application money will not be considered as deposit. Any amount received pursuant to an offer made towards subscription to any securities, including share application money or advance towards allotment of securities pending allotment. Basically, they are talking about share application money. If you have applied for shares of any company, that money will not be considered as deposit. But listen to me very carefully. If securities for which application money was received is not allotted within 60 days from receipt thereof, or is not refunded within 15 days from completion of 60 days, such amount shall be treated as deposits. What are you saying, sir? I'm saying that if you do not allot these shares, so you were supposed to allot 100 shares and you were supposed to refund 900 shares, correct? Now, if you're not allotting this 100 shares within 60 days, or you are not refunding this within 15 days of end of 60 days, you will not be, guys, are you up? What are we reading, sir? Deposits will not include application money, but I'm telling you certain times when you will consider this as deposits. Sorry, application money will not be considered as deposits in general, but agar aisa karoge na, we will consider this application money as deposits. Kya karoge, sir? Kya karoge? Listen to me. Now, here I received the money. Here I received the application money. Okay. Law says that within 60 days, what you will have to do is you will have to do allotment. Now, once you do the allotment, you know which people have to be refunded the money. Out of 1,000 people, you decided 100 people, right? Now, the remaining 900 has to be refunded. So, the remaining 900 from here, within 15 days, what you will do is you will refund. So, once you receive the application, maximum within 75 days, you will have to refund. Correct? Within 60 days, you will allot, or within 75 days, you will refund. Correct? Now, if within 60 days, you are not allotting, or after 60 days ends, within 15 days, if you're not refunding, then in that case, such application money will be considered as deposit. Such application money will consider it as what? Deposit. Are you getting me? So that is what is written here. If securities for which application money was received is not allotted within 60 days from receipt thereof, or is not refunded within 15 days from completion of 60 days, such amount shall be treated as deposit. Sir, kitna boring hai. Such a boring chapter. Guys, any adjustment other than what is allowed with such application money will not be considered as a refund. Sir, if I say that I will not refund this money to you, let's do this. You buy goods from us. I said to those applicants to whom shares were not allotted, I said that I'll not give you refund. What I'll do is I'll give you goods against such money. Law says that this is not a refund. We will not consider this as a refund. And in that case, the amount will become a deposit. Sir, it is problematic if it becomes a deposit because aage chal ke we will read there is a limit to how much deposit you can accept from public. Okay, so application money, as I said, will not be considered as a deposit. Guys, what are we reading? There are certain things which will not be considered as deposit. One, what you receive from government, what you receive from foreign sources, what you receive from your banks or public financial institution, commercial papers that you issue, intercorporate loans, or any application money. These things will not be considered as deposit. Mark this thing as important. Application money ko important mark karo. There are chances of making questions. Sir, what about the rupees 9? Mr. Somesh, that is not relevant. The rupees 9 is not relevant at all because it is allotment money. It will come later on. And it is not a deposit by under any stretch of imagination because that rupees 9 is allotment money. It is against your equity. It is not deposit absolutely. It is not nothing. It has nothing to do with deposits. Okay. Next point, sir. If you have received any money from your director. Now this is again tricky. Mark this also as important. What is this? Guys, 4 mark ka aega exam mein. The same question will come for 4 marks and you'll regret, Arey, why was I sleeping that day? Why was I sleeping that day? Sir, what if allotment is made within 60 days but not refunded after 75 days? Ankit, those are two different things, Baba. If you're allotting, then you don't have to refund. So, I'll not take it now. I'll take it after the end of the class. Okay? Chalo, instead, I'll just take a moment to explain you application money. Now, understand, if I received an application money here, okay, I had 100 shares to be issued, but I received application for 1000 shares. What I have to do is, of these 1000 shares, 100 will be allotted and 900 will be refunded. Within how much time do I have to decide? I have to decide within 60 days. Within 60 days, I'll decide whether to allot or to refund. If I have to allot, then allot within 60 days. If you don't allot within 60 days, this money will be considered as deposit. Now, what about this 900 shares, sir? If I decided to refund this 900 shares, I'll have to refund it within 15 days of the end of 60 days. If I don't refund, because you'll have to give some time to refund na yaar. I took 60 days to decide. 60 दिन मेरे को लगे डिसाइड करने में. Once I decided, I'll take 15 days to refund. 15 days में I'll refund. If I don't refund this after the end of 15 days, this will again be considered as deposits. I'm not going to explain this again. This is how much because we'll not be able to move forward then. Okay? जिसको समझ आया please understood भी बोलो ताकि मेरे को आगे बढ़ने का motivation मिले. So that I say motivated to move ahead. Just tell me if you understood it. Sneha पूछ रही है, will the company have to give interest on such deposit? The answer is Sneha, if this gets started considering as deposit. मतलब क्या, अगर हमको बाद में इसको deposit मानना पड़ जाता है. If we end up considering it as a deposit, we may have to give interest. Yes. ठीक है? Chalo guys, thank you. Many people understood. We will move ahead. Listen to me very carefully. Sir, the 7th point is that if you're taking money from your directors, as in what? If there is a company called Reliance or there is a company called Tata Group, if you're taking money from your directors, can I say that Mukesh Ambani ji is a director in Reliance Industry Limited? He is a director for a fact. Can I say kya hota hai? He is for a fact a director in the company. So if Reliance Industries Limited is getting money is getting money from Mukesh Ambani, in that case, it will not be considered as deposit. Similarly, if Tata Group is getting money from, say, Ratan Tata, it will not be considered as deposits, assuming that Ratan Tata is in the director. Ratan Tata is a director. So if you're getting money from the directors of the company, it will not be considered as what? Deposit. But there is a catch. Listen to me. Now, let's read first. Amount received from the person who at the time of such receipt was director of the company or relative of the director of the company will not be considered as deposits. Now, do you see relatives are also being covered? Relatives are also being covered in case of private company. What do I mean, sir? Let's talk with examples. Okay. Sir, Sunna, this chapter is a little tricky, but it will take time for you to understand once. But once you understand, there is no stopping. There is no time taking, and I am telling you, we will also revise this chapter. पूरा detail में मस्त एकदम आधा घंटा लगा के revision करेंगे. अभी मेरी बात सुन लो बस. Just listen to me very clearly. What are we talking? If a company, there is a company called Reliance Industries Limited, there is a company called Tata Group. Now let me divide these into two parts. One, you are taking money from your directors. Second, you are taking money from the relative of your directors. Relative of your directors as in what? Let's talk about Reliance Industries Limited. You are taking money from Isha Ambani. Who is Isha Ambani? Isha Ambani is daughter of Mukesh Ambani. Or you are taking money from son of Ratan Tata. Okay, son of Ratan Tata. Now tell me what is deposit and what is not deposit. Okay, so law says that if you're a public company or private company, it doesn't matter. If you're taking money from your directors, it is not deposit. Okay, matlab this is not deposit, this is not deposit. If Mukesh Ambani is taking, if Reliance Industries Limited is taking money from Mukesh Ambani or Tata Group Private Limited is taking money from Ratan Tata, because both of these people are directors, it is not a deposit. But what about relative of directors? If Reliance Industries Limited is taking money from Isha Ambani, if Reliance Industries Limited is taking money from Isha Ambani, is it a deposit? The answer is yes. Because relative of director is not covered in case of public company. But if Tata Group is taking money from son of Ratan Tata, it will not be considered as deposit because relative of directors of private company is included in case of private company. सर क्या बोल रहे हो आप ना एकदम बस बोलते जा रहे हो समझा तो रहे ही नहीं हो आपने तो बोल दिया बस ये तो प्रोविजन है इसका लॉजिक क्या है सर अंडरस्टैंड वेरी केयरफुली गाइस private companies are generally closely held companies. So sometimes what happens is you don't take money from your directors, but you end up taking from relative of your director. For example, Neil, Nitin, Mukesh. These are three different people, okay? Not one person. These are three different people. These three people formed a company. Okay, 1, 2, 3. These three people formed a private company. Now, private companies are closely held companies, but you will have to understand private companies are more like a family business. Matlab, there are three brothers who came together and opened a company. There are three sisters who came together and opened a company. That is how private limited company works. Now, for example, Neil wants to bring money into this company, but it does not have any money. So it went to his son and said, son, can you invest some money in this company? Can you give some loan to this company? It will happen. Because you are a privately held company, तुम्हारे घर की ही company है. So you'll go to your relatives and you'll ask for such loan. So law said that, okay, we understand it and hence we will not consider it as a deposit. But such things will not happen in case of public companies, guys. Such things will not happen in case of public company. In public company, if you are going to your relative of the director, then in that case, that relative is a different person. And if that different person is giving you some money, it will be considered as deposit. So the point is that what all money will not be considered as deposit if a public company is getting money from its directors or a private company is getting money from its directors or the relative. Did you understand? Yes, sir, you understood. Read now. Amount received from person who at the time of such receipt was director of the company, as in public company or private company, or relative of the director of the company, only in case of private company. Relatives are excluded from definition of deposit only in case of a private company. Okay, then following conditions are to be met. Guys, following conditions are to be met. At the time of giving such money, directors or relatives to furnish a declaration that such amount is not being given out of loans or borrowings from other company. Sir, I am explaining you a very important concept here. Okay, now tell me something. Why does a person invest in fixed deposit? If you're a fan of some YouTuber, you'll say that array because he's mad. In general, I'm asking, why would a person go and invest in fixed deposit? For example, if a person is earning 10,000 rupees per month and his monthly expenses is 12,000 rupees per month, he's earning 10,000, expenses are 12,000. Amdani atta nahi, kharcha rupeya. For those who don't understand Hindi, it means that you're earning less, spending more. So 10,000 rupees you're earning and 12,000 are your expenses. Will you go and invest in fixed deposit? Are you don't have any surplus fund to invest. Why will you go and invest? You'll not invest. Correct? Will it ever happen that I'm going to bank? For example, Shubham is going to SBI and he is asking SBI, give me loan now. Why loan? Because I'll take this money and invest in your fixed deposit. So SBI will say, are you mad? I'll give you loan for 7% and then you'll go and invest it in FD for 4%. Are you mad? No, right? So you will never do this, that you will borrow money and then invest in fixed deposit. That is not an option. Now, that is not a good option, right? So similarly, law says the same thing. Law says that when you are investing in deposit of a company, when you're investing in deposit of a company, please do not borrow money to invest it. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. For example, I'll tell you practically what happened. In August 2021, there is a company called Godrej. I'm sure you must have heard about it. If not heard, at least used it. Godrej. So Godrej is a company which raised deposit from public. Now, when they raised deposit, they were offering an interest rate of 7%. Now tell me something. They are offering 7%. If Shubham is an investor, will Shubham go to SBI? One second. If Shubham is an investor, will Shubham go to SBI and ask for loan and say, SBI, मेरे को 8% पे loan दे, give me loan for 8% so that I can go and invest in 7%. No, right? So law says that when you are investing in any FD or deposit, please make sure that it is not from the money that you borrowed, but it is probably from the surplus fund. So when it comes to directors also, there are two conditions that law has specifically said, that you will have to give a declaration at the time of such investment that such amount is not being given out of loans or borrowings from others. You have not borrowed the money that you are giving as a deposit to the company. Second, company to disclose money so accepted in board report. In board report as in what? The company, whatever money it has received from the directors, it will have to show it in the board report. Guys, you don't have to buy heart anything right now. These things specifically, you don't have to do ratta right now. What you have to do just right now, what you have to do is understand each and every point. Whatever point I am saying, are you getting it or not getting it? If you're not getting it, write it down at the end of the class. I'll take your doubts and explain it again if needed, or otherwise also this video will be uploaded on YouTube. So you can watch it again on YouTube. But the point is, understand this once. But after you're done understanding it once, also what I'll do is on the YouTube channel where it gets uploaded, there's a comment section. I'll also be monitoring that section. So if you feel like asking any doubts, you can ask in those comment sections also. But the point that I'm trying to say here is, don't try to buy heart because you're reading and learning it for the first time. All you have to do is understand. Because you will also have to grow yourself with the classes, right? You'll have to understand, acha, there is something called as deposit. Acha, directors also gives money to the company and everything. Just keep understanding, just keep learning. By hearting part is a process. Now you understand. Then what we will do is, we'll do one revision, we'll do ratta there, then we'll do one more revision, we'll do ratta there. This way, by the time you reach your exams, you'll have read it, you'll have understood it 2-3 times, and you'll have it by hearted also. Currently, at this point of time, your only focus should be to what? Arey to bolo, to what? Your current focus should be only to what? बोलो जब तक तुम नहीं बोलोगे मैं आगे नहीं बढ़ूंगा. बोलो. Come on, tell me. Guys, bolo, your current focus should be to do what? To understand, not by heart. Okay? So, talking about directors, money from directors will not be considered as deposits, but two conditions has to be satisfied. One, you will have to give a declaration. Second, you will have to disclose. D2. D3 nahi bhai, D2. Okay? Now, next. Bonds or debentures. Simple is, sir, if it is a bond or if it is a debenture, if you are selling it in the name of debenture, why will you consider it as deposit? There is already a provision related to debenture. So why will you consider it as deposit? So if it is a bond or debenture, it is a bond or debenture and not deposit. Amount raised by issue of bonds or debentures secured by first charge or pari passu with first charge on any assets referred to in Schedule 3, excluding intangible assets. provided the amount of such bonds or debentures is less than or equal to market value of the assets as assessed by registered valuer, or bonds or debentures compulsorily convertible into shares of a company within 10 years, or non-convertible debentures unsecured or listed on recognized stock exchange. Sir, क्या है ये? What is this? What are they talking about? Sir, समझा आपको कुछ? First charge, pari passu, what does all these things mean? We will read this in the next chapter. Your next chapter, chapter 6, is about registration of charges. When you create a charge, what is a first charge, what is pari passu, everything we will understand. For the time being, what you will have to just understand is that if you are raising money in the name of bond or debentures, that particular money will not be considered as deposits. What you can do is write hold here. Right? Hold here with a pencil or something, and we will come back to this. Now, security deposit from an employee. What is security deposit from an employee? If you are taking any amount from the employees which is less than annual salary in the nature of non-interest bearing security deposit, it will not be considered as deposit. What does it mean, sir? एक तो sir employee से deposit कौन लेता है? Who takes deposit from employee? I'll tell you, this usually happens in government company. Or for example, I'll give you an example. I used to work with a company XYZ. Okay. In after 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I used to work with a company called XYZ Limited. In that XYZ Limited, I was in a very crucial position. Okay. I was in such a sensitive position that I had all the insider information. As in, I was very close to the top management. Okay, now when I have such insider information, understand from the company's point of view, what can happen is they are scared. The company is scared that what if Shubham goes and reveals such information in public, and once Shubham reveals such information in public, the company will face some losses. The company will face losses. Sushil, Adarsh, पूछ रहे हैं what is pari passu? Pari passu, I'll explain it in chapter 6. Don't worry. Pari passu, if you want to understand, pari passu right now means equal ranking. Okay, but for the time being, let it go. I'll explain in chapter 6. Understand what I'm explaining right now. What I'm trying to explain is there are a lot of companies which takes deposit from the employees. This deposit is basically to ensure that if tomorrow XYZ faces any losses because of this particular person, in that case they can recover that money. So if because of Shubham XYZ Limited faced any losses, that losses can be recovered from that particular deposit. So this employee will have to give a deposit to the company. This usually happens a lot in government companies. Okay, now what is the this deposit, this security deposit will not be considered as a deposit for the purpose of this chapter, because it has a different purpose altogether, but only if the amount is less than annual salary. Amount is less than annual salary. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अंकित अपना सीए बना था. अंकित क्या बना था? सीए बना था. तो अंकित को सीए बनने के बाद ही गॉट अ जॉब एट ओएनजीसी. He got a job at ONGC and his package was rupees 12 lakh rupees per annum. 12 lakh per annum. But once he went to ONGC to join now, ONGC said, boss, you will have to give a security deposit. So Ankit said, kitna? Bolo na, kitna? Paise hi paise hain ab to, kitna? So it said 24 lakh rupees. 24 lakh rupees deposit. So बोले भाई क्या 24 lakh deposit? Where will I bring such money? I don't have such kind of money. But if Ankit ends up paying that money, it will be considered as deposit. Because it is more than his annual salary. His annual salary is 12 lakh rupees per annum. But if he's paying more than that, then the whole amount will be considered as deposit. But if say he was asked for a deposit of 6 lakh rupees, then in that case, it will not be a problem, because as long as it is a non-interest bearing deposit. As in what? This is an interest-free deposit. You are not earning any interest out of it. In that case, it will not be considered as deposits with the company. Okay. Next, trust. If any non-interest bearing amount received or held in the trust, if you are receiving any amount in trust, same non-interest bearing, it will not be considered as deposits. Uske aage ka sir hold kar do, because I want to move and I know you're sleepy. Let's move forward. We will come back to point 11 to 16 towards the end of this session, or if time doesn't permit in the next class. But I want to make it a little interesting for you now, क्योंकि बहुत law हो गया सर. आगे तो कुछ interesting तो बताओ, कुछ अच्छा तो बोलो. ठीक है. Listen to me very carefully. Sir, we are going to start with section 73. I'll take 5 minutes. I'll give you a broad introduction. Then we'll take a break and then we'll come back and finish section 73 and section 76. Are you aware? Are you up? Are you awake? Are you up? एक जोक सुनाओ क्या? बताओ किसको किसको जोक सुनना है? Who all wants to listen to a joke? ऐसा immediately कुछ सोच नहीं पा रहा हूं मैं, पर सोचेंगे. बताओ कौन है जिनको जोक सुनने हैं? टेल मी. ठीक है. ओके गाइस, जोक सुनना है नालायक लोग. पढ़ाई कौन करेगा फिर? हाँ, जोक सुनना है. अच्छा, मेमन भाई नो कहते हैं. नालायक इतने सारे नालायक है ना, क्या बताऊं मैं. जोक सुनना है. सुनो मेरी बात, पहले सेक्शन 73 सुनो, 76 सुनो. ढंग से सुन लोगे, समझ जाओगे तो जोक सुनाऊंगा. ठीक है. इफ यू डोंट अंडरस्टैंड तो वैसे ही मजाक हो जाएगा. आयुष कह रहे सर एक्सप्लेन नॉन इंटरेस्ट बेयरिंग सिक्योरिटी डिपॉजिट. Ayush, non-interest bearing as in you are giving a deposit and you're not gaining any interest out of it. As I told you in the example, if Ayush is going and paying 6 lakh rupees to ONGC, but he is not earning any interest out of it, ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए that ONGC is saying, अरे I'll give you 10% interest or 7% interest. There is no interest, zero interest free deposit if you are giving. It will not be considered as deposit for this purpose of this chapter. Guys, section 73 and section 76 are the most important section of this chapter. Please सुन लो. अभी तक भी सोए हो ना, कोई बात नहीं, अब सुन लो. अभी तक भी अगर सोए हो, कोई बात नहीं, अब सुन लो. Listen to me very carefully, guys. Listen to me very carefully. What is the difference between section 73 and section 76? Guys, section 73 now talks about deposit from members. Section 76 talks about deposits from public. Section 73 talks about what is the process that you will have to follow in order to take deposits from your members. Members as in अपने ही लोग. अपने तो अपने होते हैं ना, उस टाइप का. Members as in those people who are the members of your company. So if you want to take deposit from these people, what are the steps that you will follow? Versus if you want to go and take deposit from public, what are the steps that you will have to follow? Now tell me, have you already understood what are resolutions, different resolutions that is passed in a company? OR, SR. Do you know what is OR? Do you know SR already? Please tell me yes, guys. Do you know what is OR? Do you know what is SR? Do you know what is OR? What is SR? Yes, sir, you do know what is an ORSR. Let me start with section 73. We will finish section 73, then come to section 76. What is 73 all about, sir? You want to accept deposit from your members. Okay. So for example, Reliance Industries Limited want money from Mukesh Ambani and all his members, Isha Ambani, Nita Ambani, all of them are members. It wants money from its members. How will they get the money? There are certain steps that need to be followed. I'll tell you broadly what are the steps. The most important step number 1 is that you pass a resolution. Resolution of whom? Resolution of your own members. You will have to pass a resolution in the general meeting. What resolution will have to you will have to pass, sir? You will have to pass an ordinary resolution. What is ordinary resolution? Ordinary resolution means majority of the shareholders are okay with the offer that yes, we will go and raise money from the public. Okay, so you will have to raise money from your members, sorry, not public, members. You will have to pass an ordinary resolution. After you pass an ordinary resolution, what will you have to do? Boss, listen. A company, Reliance Industries Limited, let's remove Reliance Industries Limited. Let's take an example of Godrej. Okay. Godrej wanted to raise money from its members. Okay. How will Godrej go about it? So Godrej has about 1 lakh members. Kitne members, sir? 1 lakh members. Ek do nahi, 1 lakh members, because it is a listed company, right? So it has 1 lakh members. How will you reach out to 1 lakh members and ask for deposits? And also, when you're going and asking for a deposit, you will have to tell them all the details, right? If Godrej is saying that, boss, I want to raise a deposit of 100 crores. Okay, now you go to your members, you will have to tell them, right? What will I do with this 100 crore? How long is the loan for? What is the duration of that particular deposit? And what interest I'll be paying? What are the terms and conditions? Everything I'll have to say. Correct. So for that purpose, you will have to prepare something which is called as circular. For those who understand, if you know, when you raise money from public in the name of initial public offer, when you go to market and when you raise IPO, or if you see Paytm, or if you see Zomato, or if you see Nykaa, every company that came up with an IPO, you see they come up with a document which is called as prospectus. What is prospectus? Prospectus is basically something which contains information about the prospects of the company. How is the company doing right now? How will the company perform in future? These things are included in the prospectus, correct? Now, Similar to a prospectus, you will create a circular. What is this circular, sir? This circular is something which will have a lot of information. What do I mean by lot of information? Lot of information as in this will first contain a statement. A statement, मतलब उसमें एक statement होगा which will show what is the financial position of the company. As in what is the profit, what is the cash flow, what is the loss, what everything that you have financial position of the company that you will show. Apart from that, you will show a credit rating obtained. What credit rating have you obtained? What is credit rating, sir? What is credit rating? Do you know there is something called as IMDb rating for movies? What is IMDb rating for movies? There is a website called as IMDb. Okay, when you go to this particular website and you search, say for example, if you want to understand what are the reviews for RRR, what are the reviews for RRR? It will show that the reviews are 8.5 out of 10. It means that it is a very good movie. And it will also show how many people have watched that particular movie or how many people have actually rated to arrive at this 8.5 rating, correct? So what I personally do is when I have to decide whether or not to watch a movie, I search for its IMDb rating. If the IMDb rating is more than 8, I definitely watch. No second thoughts. But if the IMDb rating is more than 7 but less than 8, I just kind of think whether or not to watch. But if it is less than 7, I will always go for a different movie whose rating is more than 8. Okay, so based on these factors, I decide whether or not to watch a movie. Similarly, there are some credit rating agencies. What is credit rating agencies? These are basically agencies who rate deposits. So when Godrej came up with a deposit request of 100 crore, I don't know whether that 100 crore is safe or not. And I may not be even capable of determining whether it is a safe investment or not. So what Godrej will have to do is, Godrej will have to go to a credit rating agency. There are multiple credit rating agencies, sir. You must have heard of Chrysler. You must have heard of CARE. You must have heard of ICRA. There are multiple credit rating agency. तो इनमें से किसी एक के पास गोदरेज चला जाएगा और गोदरेज बोलेगा भाई मेरे डिपॉजिट को जरा रेट करो. Now these credit rating agency will also have levels of ratings. Some will be very good, some will be good, some will be okay, some will be bad. Now based on whatever factors they have to check the profits of Godrej, they'll have to check the market position of Godrej, and everything they'll check and they'll come with a rating. That rating will have to be included in your circular so that basis that rating I can make a decision. I'll show you Godrej. Godrej actually came up with a deposit request now. I'll show you what are the credit ratings that were given to Godrej. It was written clearly that it is a very safe investment. Okay, so that kind of credit rating you will have to obtain. Apart from that, you will also have to show how many total numbers of depositors are already there in the Godrej, as in पहले भी उन्होंने deposit raise किया होगा. For example, Godrej came up with deposits request in August 2021, but it has also raised some deposits last year in June 2020. So you will have to give data of how many depositors are currently there. What is the amount due to previous depositors? जो पुराने depositors हैं, उनको कितना amount देना है, and other information you will show in the circular. Okay, these are the basic information that you will have to show in your circular. What will you do then, sir? This is a circular. You prepared a circular. You included all this data. What will you do after that? Now, this circular has to be sent to members, right? So you will send the circular to all the members. How will you send to all the members, sir? There are three ways. One is RPAD. सर ये आरपीएडी सुन लो. लोगों को सीए फाइनल में आ जाते हैं, उनको आरपीएडी क्या होता है नहीं पता होता है, क्योंकि उनको किसी ने बताया ही नहीं ना. What is this RPAD? RPAD is registered post acknowledgement due. एक बार बोलो, registered post acknowledgement due. If I have to send a gift to you, okay, if I have to send a gift to you, there is one option that I will go to a courier and I'll give you a detail, give the money and say send it, boss. So they'll send it and you'll receive the gift. I'll call you and ask you whether you got the gift or not, and you'll say yes or no. Okay, the second option is that I go to the same courier guy and I tell him that I want to send it via registered post acknowledgement due, which means that when that courier guy will come and deliver that gift to you, it will take your acknowledgement. It will sign that you have received that gift and bring that document back to me so that I have proof that you have received the gift. Tomorrow when I call you and I say, boss, you received the gift, you say, no, I didn't receive it. But I'll say that I have this supporting, which is because I had sent registered post acknowledgement due. Now, as soon as you received it, I received the acknowledgement. So RPAD is basically same registered post, only with additional proof that the product has been delivered to you. Okay. So registered post acknowledgement due से भेज सकते हो, speed post से भेज सकते हो. Or you can also send by any electric mode, as in you can also send via email. What are you sending, sir? You're sending a circular to all your members, because once you give them this detail, only then they'll invest in your company, right? They'll give you a deposit, right? So you're sending it all to all your members. Apart from that, there are multiple other things also that you'll have to do. For example, you will have to publish it in your newspaper. Newspaper mein you will have to bring a notice in the newspaper. Hazrat. Suno. Attention. You will have to say that this company is coming up with deposits only for its members, and if you are a member, feel free to apply. Okay. Which newspaper will you publish it in, sir? Will you publish it in Economic Times? Will you publish it in Hindu? Where will you publish it? So law says that you will have to publish it in two newspapers. One is English and one is vernacular language. English language, sir, any newspaper where you think you will have audience, you publish it. So you think Economic Times is a good place, you publish it. But one other place where you will have to publish is vernacular language. What is vernacular language? For example, Godrej is based out of Mumbai. Godrej is based out of Mumbai. The registered office of Godrej is in Mumbai, for example. Now, wherever your registered office is, which state is this, sir? This is Maharashtra, right? So whichever state your registered office is, वहां पे जो vernacular language है, vernacular language as in local language. So Marathi is a local language, correct? Now, whichever newspaper has a wide circulation in Marathi language, in that language you will have to give the ad. क्या बोला सर मैंने? आप जो भी स्टेट में हो, wherever state you are registered in that particular state, you will look at what is the vernacular language. It is Marathi. And what is the famous newspaper in that particular vernacular language? Marathi newspaper जो भी famous होगा, in that newspaper you will give your what? You'll give your advertisement. You will give a notice that we are raising deposit. Apart from that, if you have a website, you will also have to place in your website that Hazrat, we are coming up with a deposit request from our members. Okay, sir, please, may I have your attention to one point, that we are talking about raising deposits from your members. When you come to talking about raising deposits from public other than members, then the points will almost be similar. This will just be a repetition, but there will be a little twist. So for the time being, consider this as your base and remember with me. First thing that you did was you passed a resolution, my friend. First thing that you did was you passed a resolution. After passing a resolution, what you have to do is you will have to prepare a circular. That circular has to go with a statement, and then you will have to send it via these things, and newspaper and website maybe also you will publish these circulars. Now listen to me very carefully. Before you take these circulars to the members, before you release these circulars to the members, you will have to before that go to ROC. Who knows what is ROC? Can you tell me the full form of ROC? Tell me the full form of ROC. Ayush कह रहे हैं, sir, is this publishing in newspaper mandatory or voluntary? It is mandatory. Guys, tell me now, what is ROC? ROC is basically आरोही नहीं भाई, आशिकी 2 नहीं चल रहा है यहाँ पे. ROC, Registrar of Companies. What is Registrar of Companies? Registrar of Companies is basically a department where you go and file every information relating to a company. So Registrar of Company is basically a department wherein you go and make all the filings. Good that all of you know Registrar of Company is mother of company, ठीक है? Registrar of Companies जो है, वहां पे you will go and make the filings. Okay, now what you have to do is you made a circular, like, right? Now the circular has a lot of information. Before you take this circular to member, you will have to take it to ROC. You will have to take this circular to ROC. You will have to get it registered with ROC. Once ROC registers it, you will take it to the members. Okay, so ROC mein you went, you got it registered, and then you took it to the members, and then you gave it to the members that boss, these are the details and these are the information, and based on this information we want to raise a deposit from you. Now tell me something. What will this circular contain, sir? This circular will contain your financial position also. I told you, right? This circular will contain your financial position, as in what are your profits, what are your sales, what are your revenue, and what is your expenses, all the details, correct? So in that case, tell me something. If I am raising money in 2022-23, can I go with a circular which has the financial position of 2010-11? 2010-11, because that year we made amazing profits. We are not even able to achieve that profits today, but it had amazing profits in those years. So can I take this 2010 and 11 ka financial position and go and raise money in 2022-23? No, right? Because it doesn't make sense, because this financial position is not relevant anymore. So law says that this circular will have validity. This circular will have validity because it has information which is prone to changes. As time passes, these informations are prone to changes. So this circular will have a validity. What is the validity of this circular, sir? If I tell you simply, the validity is that if this circular pertains to this financial year, this is the financial year 22-23, this circular will be valid only till 6 months after the end of financial year. जब आपका फाइनेंशियल ईयर खत्म होता है उसके बाद ओनली 6 मंथ्स के लिए इट इज वैलिड. फॉर एग्जांपल योर फाइनेंशियल ईयर 1st April 2022 टू 31st March 2023. उससे उससे कितना 6 महीना, मतलब आपका 30th September 2023 तक ही ये सर्कुलर वैलिड होगा. उसके बाद फॉर रेजिंग एनी मोर मनी यू विल हैव टू कम अप विद न्यू सर्कुलर्स व्हिच विल कंटेन न्यू डिटेल्स. Did you understand? So sir, I'll get into the detail of this after the break, but broadly what I have told you right now is that you take a resolution first, then you prepare a circular. Now before sending that circular to the members, you will have to first of all get it registered with the ROC. Okay, now one very important thing along with this circular. What is this circular? This is a circular in which you have all the details of the company. Now along with this circular, you will include a statutory auditor report. What did I say? Along with this circular which contains all the details, you will include a statutory auditor report. What is this report all about, sir? This report is basically saying either of the two things. It is saying that we have not defaulted in any past deposits. Matlab we will have to say, we as in the statutory auditor. For example, Deloitte is the statutory auditor for Godrej, for example. So Deloitte will give a statement. And it will give a report that the Godrej has not defaulted in any what? Repayment of deposits or any interest thereon. Or sir, इंसान है, कंपनी है, गलतियां तो सबसे होती है. Everyone makes mistake. So even if a company has defaulted, such default has been made good. Default has been made good मतलब क्या? I have corrected that default. Initially I was not able to repay that deposit, but I ended up repaying the deposit, and 5 years have lapsed from the date on which such default was made good. मतलब क्या? Please try to understand. Law is trying to say something. Law is trying to say that if you are going on 31st of March 2023 and you are saying that I want to raise deposit from members, your own members, you are asking for deposits, then there are either or two conditions that are to be satisfied. First is that either you have not defaulted, आपने कभी गलती की ही नहीं है, you have never defaulted. Defaulted in what, sir? You must have taken loan earlier. So for example, when I talk about Godrej asked for deposit in August 2021, but it has already raised a deposit in June 2020. So in August 2021, when it is going to the members, it will have to say that I have not defaulted in any previous deposit. Or even if I have defaulted, first step is that the default has been made good. मतलब मैंने वो payment कर दिया. And the second step is that 5 years have lapsed from the date on which such default was made good. That means that if ever you make a default, unless you make that default good, and once you make that default good, as long as 5 years is not passed, you will not be allowed to raise any deposit. Let me explain it to you once again. If you defaulted here, okay, and then you made good the default. मतलब क्या? You were not able to repay, then you repaid. Once you repaid it, after 5 years, till 5 years also, you will not be allowed to raise what? Deposits. And once this 5 years is completed, you can then go ahead and raise deposits. Because why? This is kind of a punishment. Why did you default, boss? You should not have defaulted. Now that you have defaulted, once you make it good, you'll have to wait for 5 years. Please note that this 5 year is not starting from the date on which you defaulted, but it is starting from the date on which you made the default good. It means that you have not made the default goods. As in, अगर कोई पुराना deposit outstanding है, default पड़ा हुआ है, तो फिर आप क्या नहीं रेज कर सकते? Further deposit नहीं रेज कर सकते. Did you understand? Did you understand my point, guys? Are you with me? Are you with me? Did you understand anything at all? Circular needs to be registered with ROC and then published. Yes. Rashmin Kumar. Yes. Sir, let me show you something. Can I tell you one thing? This circular that we are talking about now, where is the circular? कहाँ है भाई? हाँ जी. Do you see this circular that we are talking about? This circular has a form linked to it. What is this form, sir? This circular will be in form DPT1. Form DPT1. Guys, have you ever by hearted circular form numbers before this? Question number one, should you by heart form number? Sir, absolutely yes. With MCQ coming into picture, absolutely yes. There is no second thoughts to it. You will have to by heart the form numbers. Second is, how do we by heart form numbers? Form numbers are generally related to the name of the chapter. What is the name of this chapter, sir? Acceptance of deposit by company. So deposit. So DPT. जैसे बचपन में फ्लेम्स खेलते थे ना वैसा. DPT, deposit. So from deposit, DPT came, and forms in this chapter will be form DPT. I'm not sure if your teacher told you this, but form in DPT. रश्मीन कुमार बोल रहे हैं 5 साल थोड़ा ज्यादा नहीं है सर. 5 साल थोड़ा ज्यादा है ही नहीं. आप समझो आपके पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से, अंडरस्टैंड फ्रॉम योर पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू. यू इन्वेस्टेड इन गोदरेज and Godrej failed to repay your amount. How will you feel? You'll not be happy because you are getting such minimum return. You are getting only 7%, 8%. You are like, boss, I would have invested in mutual fund. I would have got more money. एक तो मैं इन्वेस्ट कर रहा हूं तुम पे, ऊपर से you are not giving my money back. So you would want that other people also should not give money. So that is why the 5 years. Okay. Now what I was saying is the circular will be in form DPT1. Form DPT1, DPT1, DPT1. So this form DPT1 you can see here for Godrej. Do you see my screen? Do you see this heading? Form DPT1. Let me open it in a different way. Do you see now? Do you see my screen? Form DPT1. Form DPT1, circular or circular in the form of advertisement inviting deposits. Sir, these are two interchangeable words for your purpose. वैसे तो meaning है इसका, but you understand that it can either be circular or circular in the form of advertisement. Circular in the form of advertisement as in you're not preparing a proper circular, you're just preparing a table and you're advertising it. So this is form DPT1, and you see this pursuant to section 73 subsection 2 clause A and section 76 and rules of companies acceptance of deposit rules 2014. Now let me tell you something again which you must have heard or not heard. I hope you must have heard it. Rules name. Do you need to by heart the name of the rules? Yes, sir. Only thing that you have to do is by heart the name of the chapter. What is the name of this chapter? The name of this chapter is acceptance of deposits by companies. This is the name of the chapter. How do you change the name of the chapter to name of the rules? So for every chapter, there are different rules. So for this chapter, whatever rules they have made, it will be like this. Companies, acceptance of deposits by companies, rules 2014. So how does a rule name come? Rule name is basically companies, chapter ka naam, bracket mein, or rules 2014. When did the Companies Act came into picture? It came in the year 2013. Correct. So immediately after that, 1 year after that, central government brought all the rules, almost all the rules. So almost all the important rules are dated 2014. So companies acceptance of deposit rule by company rules 2014 is the rules. And for this chapter, these rules are very important, and we will by heart, we'll also read a lot from these rules. But point is that circular, this is the circular, and you will see that general information. Name, address and website and other contact details, Godrej and Boyish Manufacturing Company Limited. This is the name of the company which came up with a deposit. Registered office kahan ka hai sir? Mumbai ka hai. So Mumbai ka registered office hai. So now I understand that when they have to go to advertisement in the newspaper, they will have to choose 2 newspapers. Okay. One will be the vernacular language. So Marathi ka jo wide circulation hai, whichever famous Marathi paper is that, it will be considered. Can we say that? I'll take your doubts, guys. I'll take your doubts. Vanati is asking what is rules and what is section. How does it differ, sir? I can explain, Vanati, but did you not cover this in your first class? I think that's a first class. That's a first class. You should have covered it in the first class. That's a very basic. I mean, not you, as in I'm sure the faculty must have covered it. If not, let me know. Okay. Okay, sir. Now, can I tell you that when a company comes with a deposit, it names it as fixed deposit. You know why they name it as fixed deposit? Because people get a little more comfortable when it comes to fixed deposit, because they think risk bahut kam hoga. So Godrej marketed this particular deposit as fixed deposit, and hence you can see that there is a name called fixed deposit scheme, fixed deposit team. Then date of incorporation of the company, business carried on by the company and its subsidiaries in detail. इन्होंने पूरा business के बारे में detail दिया है, कौन खुद क्या करते हैं, उनका subsidiary क्या करता है, brief particular of the management of the company, who all are involved in the management of the company, Mr. JN Godrej, Mr. AB Godrej, NB Godrej, VM, ये सारे बहुत सारे लोग हैं जो involved हैं business में. उसके बाद क्या है, management perception and risk factors. How do you think this company will perform in future? What is the market opportunity? How will they perform? And everything you will write here. Then after that, listen to me very carefully. Details of default, including the amount involved, duration of default, and present status and repayment of statutory dues, nil. They have not defaulted in payment of any statutory dues. Debentures and interest thereon, nil. They have not defaulted in repayment of debentures. Loan from any bank or PFI, nil. Matlab they have not defaulted in anything. This is a very good sign. This is a good sign. Had they written here that, Arey, we have so many statutory dues pending, so many loans from banks which we have to repay, we have not repaid it, we have defaulted, would you have invested in this company? Obviously not. You would have thought, जो loan bank का पैसा नहीं दे रहा है, हमारा पैसा क्या देगा? So that is why this particular disclosure is important. And then this second point is very important. Sir, please by heart, we are reading form DPT1. Okay, this is the circular. You see, particulars of the deposit scheme, the deposit they are coming up with, what are the particulars of that particular scheme? Date of passing a board resolution. So they passed a board resolution on 26th August 2020. Date of passing a resolution in the general meeting authorizing the investment of inviting of such deposit. So first they took a board resolution, and they also took a shareholder ka resolution in a general meeting. So this is an ordinary resolution. Okay, because and it was taken on 9th June 2014. मतलब एक बार ले लिया और उसी पे काम चला रहे. They have taken approval once in 9th June 2014, and they are continuing it till date. Types of deposit. What is this deposit type? That is whether secured or unsecured. This is an unsecured deposit. Do you by any chance know the difference between secured and unsecured deposit? If not, don't worry. We will take it after a break. For some reason, I am very happy none of you asked for a break yet. For some reason, not a single message of break. क्या हो गया भाई? सो गए क्या? How come you have not asked for a break yet? How come you are behaving more mature than a CA final student? Mr. Somesh कह रहे हैं, sir, defaulted means not only in respect of deposit, right? So in law, in section 73, Somesh, they are talking only about default in deposits. But here the Godrej has given this extra disclosure because ये important है. Right. So in law, it is just talking about default in repayment of deposits, but here they have given additional disclosure. Okay. Now quickly, guys, let's take a break. It's 8:39 and I'll see you at 8:55. Okay. The class will go until 9:45 today. Okay. And then we will finish the class. Okay. Thank you, guys. See you after the break. Bye-bye. स्टार्ट। हे गाइस, वेलकम बैक। आ गए तुम लोग, वापस आ गए। बताओ फटाफट, वापस आ गए तुम लोग। वापस आ गए फटाफट बताओ। हाँ जी सर। यस सर, यस सर, यस सर। ओके, चलो गाइस आगे बढ़े सर। बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट काम खत्म करना है अपने को। We have to finish very important task. Let me just rearrange my screen and then we will get started. Okay. All right, guys, suno. Sir, what are we reading? We are reading section 73 and then we will also be reading section 76. Do you remember the basic difference that I told between section 73 and 76? The basic difference is that here deposits are raised from members. Members as in apne log. Apne. Or either the other, on the other hand, section 76 will talk about public. Abhi tak what I have told you is that we will have to pass an ordinary resolution. Then we will have to issue a circular. But before issuing the circular to members, we will have to first go to whom? We will have to first go to ROC and get this circular registered. Once ROC registers this circular, then after that we can issue the circular. But along with the circular, we will have to attach a statement from the statutory auditor. This statutory auditor, what will be this auditor say? This auditor will say that either the company has not defaulted in any repayment, or if they have ever defaulted, then such default was made good and 5 years have lapsed. क्या वर्ड है? lapsed from the date on which such default was made good. From the date on which default was made good, 5 साल का वनवास हो गया है. Now they are again eligible to what? To raise deposits. So I was showing you this sheet, right? I was showing you form DPT 1. In form DPT 1, I was showing you that there is a board resolution that was passed, and then there was a shareholder ka resolution that there was passed, and this type of deposit is, it was an unsecured deposit, right? Uske baad there are some informations that we will come to later on. D हो गया, E हो गया. But चलो चलो यहाँ पे मैं आपको दिखाता हूँ एक क्रेडिट रेटिंग ऑब्टेन करके कुछ है. दे आर टॉकिंग अबाउट गोदरेज का क्रेडिट रेटिंग. दे आर टॉकिंग नेम ऑफ द क्रेडिट रेटिंग एजेंसी क्रिसिल लिमिटेड. रेटिंग ऑब्टेन FAA प्लस स्टेबल. Arey, how do I know what FAA plus is? What would I know? Am I working as a credit rating agent? No, right? So that is why they have also obtained the meaning of the rating obtained. The rating indicates that the degree of safety regarding timely payment of principal and interest is strong. That they will timely repay. This is a strong rating, and such rated instrument carry very low credit risk. Matlab credit risk as in what? The risk of default is very low, and the date on which the rating was obtained was 4th August 2020. That is, it is a very recent rating, and they have also explained the rating saying that it is a very good rating. After that, short particulars of charge created, not relevant for us because this is an unsecured one, and any other material information. Apart from that, if you see, they are talking about the financial position of the company as to what was the profit before exceptional item, profit before taxes, and profit after taxes. Apart from that, they are also talking about what? They are also talking about the cash flow statement from operating activities, investing, financing activities. ये सारी चीजें इन्होंने डाली है. मैं आगे बढ़ रहा हूं. I wanted to show you this report. Deloitte, Godrej ka statutory auditor was Deloitte, and there is a report from Deloitte. What is the statutory auditor required to certify? If you see, sir, in the report, if you see in the opinion, what have they written? Based on our examination as stated in paragraph 4 above, and according to information, explanation, and representation provided to us by the company, in our opinion, the company has not committed any default in repayment of deposit or in the payment of interest on such deposits accepted either on or after, before or after the commencement of this act, that was outstanding during the year, and there was no default that has been made good as of 31st March 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20. As in they are saying ऐसा कुछ भी पिछले साल 5 साल में in the last 5 years nothing of this sort has happened that they have either defaulted or they made good. Everything is going fine in the last 5 years. This is what they have written in the statutory auditor certificate report. This is a practical explanation of what I just taught to you in theory. Now coming back. Coming back to a very important concept. I want to talk to you about something which is called as deposit repayment reserve account. Deposit repayment reserve account. कुछ सुना सुना लग रहा है सर? ऐसा कुछ तो सुना सुना है, कहीं तो देखा है, कुछ तो गड़बड़ है. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You can't see my screen and I have been showing you so many things until now. Wow. Very good. Shubham, very good. I'm so proud of you. I'm sharing my screen again. Don't worry. Can you see my screen now? Okay, sir. So you missed the whole statutory auditor report wala part. I was showing you this is the Deloitte Haskins sales ka report. Can you see my screen now? Can you see my screen now? Yes. Now, okay. Yeah. So this is Deloitte Haskins sales ka report. Okay. If you see, I was showing you this is attached to DPT3. This is the same DPT3 that we were reading. Isme I also taught you credit rating. What is the credit rating that they obtained? They obtained credit rating from CRISIL. They have given that the rating obtained is FAA plus and that the degree, they have also explained the meaning of this particular credit rating, that the degree of safety is strong and there is a very low credit risk. After that, they have shown the financial position of the company in which they have shown profit before taxes and profit after taxes. They also showed cash flow statement of the company for last 3 financial year. And then there is a statement from the statutory auditor. What was the statutory auditor required to report? That either they have not defaulted or if they defaulted, they have made good and last 5 years have lapsed. So that is what they have written in the opinion. एक बार opinion read करो. अभी मैंने पढ़ा, एक बार आप opinion read करो. Just read the opinion once. They're just saying that there has been no default or even if there was default, ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं हुआ है, कोई default का चक्कर ही नहीं है, default good करने का 5 साल का वो सब कोई चक्कर ही नहीं है. Everything was good in the last 5 years. Okay. Now, this is the certificate. Now coming back to our points. I was saying, I wanted to tell you an important provision which is deposit payment, repayment reserve. Have you ever heard of something very similar to it? Something which is also called as DRR, like this is DRR. Have you heard of some other DRR also? Have you heard of some other DRR also? Yes, sir. You must have heard of debenture redemption reserve. You must have heard of debenture redemption reserve, which was there in your section 71. A similar reserve has to be created in the name of deposit repayment reserve. What are these reserves for? What is the ultimate purpose of this reserve? Imagine a situation. I'm taking a loan of 5 lakh rupees from a friend of mine. Okay. And this 5 lakh rupees is taken for 5 years. So I'm saying today I'm taking this 5 lakhs and after 5 years, I'll repay this 5 lakh rupees. Now, after the end of 5 years, immediately coming up to yourself and saying, boss, I need 5 lakh rupees to pay to a friend of mine. Does it make sense? No, right? It doesn't make sense. So what instead you can do is every year from whatever profit you make, keep a amount separately. For example, you made a profit of 1 crore rupees. Okay. Just remove 1 lakh rupees from here and keep it as a reserve. Then in the second year also keep a 1 lakh rupees reserve. So after the end of 5 years, you will have 5 lakh rupees and without giving any stress to your financial position, you can take that 5 lakh rupees and give it back to your friend. Right? So reserve ka intention kya hai? You start putting some amount so that you have amount to pay in the reserve. There is a second reason for reserve also. I'll explain it to you from bank point of view. For example, HDFC Bank. Okay. It has 100 deposit holders who have deposited rupees 10,000 each. 10,000 rupees each, 10,000 rupees each was deposited by 100 deposit holders. So that comes to a total of 10 lakh rupees. So HDFC got a total of 10 lakh rupees. Now, if what HDFC will do, HDFC will take this 10 lakh rupees and give it as a loan to Reliance Industries Limited. Okay. Now imagine a situation wherein HDFC does not have any reserve. It has zero reserves. Now tell me what will happen. I had given fixed deposit. Okay. Fixed deposit for 3 years. Do I have the right to break the fixed deposit before 3 years? Absolutely. If I want, after 6 months, after 10 months, I can go to HDFC Bank and say that, boss, I don't want to keep a fixed deposit. I have a better returns. So I want to take my money back. Now, when you go to HDFC Bank to take your money back, HDFC Bank will say, Arey boss, I don't even have a single rupee. The whole 10 lakh rupees that I got, I invested forward. Arey, how can you do this? You can never do this because you are giving an option for premature deposit. You are giving me an option to come and break my deposit. So how can you not have money? So law says that. So for bank, if you know, there is something called as SLR, statutory liquidity ratio. So under which they will have to do is a portion of their total money they will have to keep as a reserve. That is, that money cannot be invested. They will have to keep it as a liquid fund at any given point of time, so that if such circumstances happen, they can repay the amount. Okay. So based on this point, you will have to understand that a reserve is required. I hope I didn't over explain, because I'm sure आपको debenture redemption reserve समझाया गया होगा. So if it was a repetition, I'm sorry. But the point is that deposit redemption reserve is also, repayment reserve is also with a similar objective. Now coming to a little bit from an exam point of view. Because these are all provision हमसे हो जाएगा. Exam कैसे manage करें? How do we take care of the exams? So you will have to learn small things every day that will gradually compile to give you a great results in your paper. Okay. And theory paper per se is something which is very difficult to score in. Okay. So you will have to learn the art of how to score in theory paper. How do you do that? I'll give you one example. I'll tell you something which you should notice right now, that when you're talking about debentures, you talk about redemption. So you use the word redeem. When you talk about preference shares, you use the word redeem. But when you talk about deposits, you use the word repay. And this is a law. This is law. When you talk about deposit, you take deposit and you repay deposit. But for debentures or preference shares, you don't repay them. You redeem them. Okay. So whenever in future also, not even in CA Inter, also in CA final, not only in CA Inter, but also in CA final, you'll come across the same concept again. More likely, I'll only tell you the same concept, but you'll see that. You will see that there is a line wherein it is written that if the company fails to repay deposit or redeem debentures or fails to pay dividend, something happens. So this is important for you to understand, that redeem word is used for dividend and debentures and preference shares, and repay word is used for deposit. Now, sir, it took hardly 30 seconds to 45 seconds to know this, but you don't need to know this ever again. Your mind will always remember it. Okay. So now coming to deposit, and hence the word with deposit is repayment and not redemption, and you're creating a reserve. Now, sir, let मुद्दे की बात पे आते हैं. What is the reserve that has to be created? I have already made a chart. I'll show it. Do you see my notes? Okay. 1 second. Give me a second, please. सोचो तुम्हारे नोट्स पे भी ऐसा होता, कितना मजा आता नहीं? ओके, डू यू सी माय स्क्रीन? यस सर, बहुत छोटे छोटे दिख रहे हैं, फिर ये लो फिर. So this is deposit, repayment, reserve. Now what I have to explain you is, how much amount will you put in the reserve? If I'm taking 5 lakh rupees and I'm putting 5 lakh in the reserve, then why the hell am I taking 5 lakh rupees? I'll not just take it, because I need that money, right? So how much percentage of the amount will I need to put in reserve? So to explain that, what I have explained is, for example, 31st March 2021 is your start date. Okay. And law says that the reserve balance will have to be checked on 30th April of every year. 30th April of every year. So in this case, we will look for 30th April 2022. Now the first financial year is 31st March 2022 to 31st March 2023. And the second financial year is this one. Okay. Now we are talking how much amount do we need to put into reserve as on 30th April 2022. So for this, two important figures are to be taken care of. One, during the current year, how much deposit is maturing, and in the next financial year, how much deposit is maturing. So for example, the total deposit that you had taken as on 31st March 2022 was 110 crore. 110 crore. Out of that 110 crore, in the current financial year, 40 crores is being matured. Next financial year, 50 crores is being matured. And after that, 20 crore is being matured. As in what? 40 crores you'll pay here, 50 crores you'll pay here, 20 crores you'll pay here. Total 110 crore will be paid. Okay. So current year, next year, next to next year. Okay. So can I say this current year, second year, and third year? Okay. Now you are standing on 31st March 2022. So imagine a situation. Where are we standing today? We are in June. So what must have happened in the 30th April 2022 that just went? What will happen? You will have to figure out how much amount needs to be transferred to deposit repayment reserve account. So for the following financial year, so there are two options. Okay, you will have to see what is the Acha, let me do this. Let me make you read this so that you understand it better. Read this paragraph, point C. How much amount has to be transferred to deposit redemption reserve? Read this point C. Aram se. Aram says that this is important. This is what will come in exam. Read this once. Sir, kuch samjha? Anything at all? Did you understand? It says company to deposit on or before 30th April each year sum more than or equal to, as in at least 20% of the amount of deposit maturing during following financial year, and keep in a scheduled bank in separate bank account called deposit repayment reserve account. The amounts are deposited shall not be utilized for purpose other than repayment of deposit, and the minimum balance will be 21% of the amount maturing during current financial year. What does it mean, sir? It means that, so you are looking at 31st March 2000, you're looking at 30th April 2022. So what you will have to see is, you will have to see in the next financial year. What is the next financial year? The current financial year is 22-23. So the next financial year is 23-24. You will have to check how much amount is getting matured in this next financial year. So if you see here, this is financial year. This is financial year 22-23. This is financial year 23-24. This is financial year 24-25. So you will have to look at this financial year 23-24. How much amount is maturing, sir? 50 crore. So 50 crore is maturing. Uska at least 20%. At least 20% कितना होता है? At least 20% होता है 10 crore. 10 crore, at least 10 crore amount you will have to take, and you will have to throw it in a separate bank account. Can I tell you one thing? Please listen to me very carefully. This is an actual transfer of money. This is not a book entry merely. You're not just making the entry in the book. You are not just creating a reserve. You are actually transferring money from your main bank account to a separate bank account, the name of which account is deposit repayment reserve account. Did you understand? So you will have to see, आज आप 30th April पे खड़े हो, ठीक है? Let me say 30th April 20x1, मतलब मेरे को नहीं पता क्या है ये. तो आप अगर, if you are standing at 30th April 20x1, what you will have to see is 31st April 20x2 से 31st March 20x3. This is the financial year that you will have to consider, which is following financial year. Agle saal, next year, how much amount will mature? 50 crore. So of that 50 crore, 20% at least, matlab 10 crore at least, I'll have to transfer to a particular fund. Now what happened? On 30th April, I transferred this amount. Good. What will happen next? After this, what you will have to do is, you will have to, for the current financial year, which is this financial year which is going on, you will also repay some deposit. So when you repay this deposit, where will you bring the money from? You'll bring the money from the DRR account. So naturally, when you're pulling money from the DRR account, your balance will go down. Your balance will go down. So you have to maintain a minimum balance also. So law said that the minimum balance will be 20% of deposits maturing in your current financial year. In your current financial year, whatever amount is maturing, sir, in our example, how much amount was maturing in the current financial year? So if you see 40 crore was maturing in the current financial year. So out of 40 crore, 20% kitna hota hai? 8 crore. So the balance should never go less than 8 crore. So as on 30th April 2022, you'll put in 10 crore more, but you will ensure that the balance never goes down less than 8 crore. You see here, deposit with the scheduled bank 10 crore, utilize it for repayment, but never fall below 20% of the amount maturing during current year, that is 8 crore. Because how much is maturing in the current year? 40 crore is maturing in the current year. Sir, I'm telling you for one last time because this is important. I will talk about it, Harsh. Listen to me, guys. Listen to me. What am I saying? I am saying that how much amount has to be transferred to deposit repayment account, reserve account. Some things which you confirm if you understand or not. First, this is an actual cash transfer. This is not merely a book entry. आप actual में cash deposit कर रहे हो. You are actually transferring money from your one bank account to another bank account. Sir, हिंदी में बताओ ना कितना ट्रांसफर करेंगे. थोड़ा easy language में बताओ ना. लॉ छोड़ो, लॉ छोड़ो, लॉ छोड़ो. Easy में बताओ ना कैसे करेंगे. कितना करना है. Listen to me. All you have to do is you are standing on 30th April 2020, whatever year. Okay, whatever you are standing, 30th April 2000, whatever year. Now you have to see two figures. How much amount is maturing in the next year and how much amount is maturing in the current financial year. Okay. Now question is, how much do I deposit in the DRR account? So the question is, how much is maturing in the next year? So I said 50 crore is maturing in the next year. So 20% of that 50 crore, please deposit in the DRR account. So I went and deposited 10 crore in the DRR account. Similarly, I would have done in the last year also, and similarly a year before that also. So I'm just depositing 20% of the next year's maturity amount. Now, what do I do with that money? That money will be utilized for repayment of deposit, naturally, because the name is deposit repayment reserve account. So whenever you are repaying any deposit, you will pull money from that account. But in that case, the amount will go to zero. वैसे देते देते तो amount कम हो जाएगा. So law said that you also have to maintain a minimum balance. What will be the minimum balance? What is the amount maturing in the current financial year? I said 40 crores first. So uska 20% will be your minimum balance. So there are two questions. How much do I transfer? And what is the minimum amount? How much do I transfer is 20% of next year maturity. And how much minimum balance do I maintain? 20% of current year maturity. Did you understand or did you not understand? इससे ज़्यादा simple हो ही नहीं सकता भाई. It cannot get any simpler than this. Next. So guys, what we will now do is, let me just make a copy of this sheet and we'll start reading from my notes because everything is covered in my notes and we'll start reading from my notes. Chalo. Okay. Sir, let's read section 73. Okay. All you have to do is focus on my notes, focus on my screen. Okay. For those people who are, so as I told you, there are a lot of people watching on YouTube also. So whatever questions you have or whatever doubts you have, also feel free to put it in the comment section in that YouTube section only, so that I can answer it whenever I visit that particular link. But now listen to me very carefully. Section 73. Sir, isko kar dala to life jinga lala. Okay. If you're done with this, your section 73.6 will also naturally get over, and we just have 20 minutes to finish this section. We'll do it. Listen to me very carefully. Prohibition on acceptance of deposit. No company shall invite. No company shall, one second, no company shall, no company shall invite, accept or renew any deposits from the public. We are strictly prohibiting. We are saying that you will not be able to accept money from public except as per this chapter. We are saying you will not be allowed to take deposit from public except as per this chapter. But only this first subsection talks about public, remaining all the subsection talks about members. But however, this provision that I just said is not applicable to banks or non-banking financial companies or the prescribed companies. Because यार bank का daily काम है deposit लेना, loan देना, deposit लेना, loan देना. You cannot put restrictions on them via Companies Act. So banks, please be on your own. For other companies, we are saying that you cannot unless you are except under this chapter. Do you by any chance know the difference between prohibition and restriction? There is a major difference between prohibition and restriction. Let me give you a quick example because it is important for you to understand what is the difference between prohibition versus restriction. Okay, prohibition versus restriction. Let's say we have Sneha here. Okay, Sneha is on this in the is now watching the video. For Sneha, I'll tell you what is the difference between prohibition and restriction. If her mom told her, that Sneha, you cannot go outside the home after 11 p.m. You are not allowed to go home after 11 p.m. Sneha said, I'll ask dad and go. Well, no, there is no way that you can go outside home after 11 p.m. Then that is a prohibition and going outside after 11 p.m. But if her mom told her that you can go out after 11 p.m. but you'll have to wear your mask. COVID चल रहा है तो mask पहनना पड़ेगा. So that is a restriction. The restriction is that I can go out but I'll have to wear mask. Okay, so there is difference between prohibition and restriction because this is very important for you to understand. Prohibition means कुछ भी हो जाए नहीं करने देंगे. Anything happens, you go take special resolution, you go take shareholders approval, you go take ministry ka approval, we don't care, we'll not let you do that. And restriction means we will ask you to do some additional compliances. For example, we'll ask you to take a special resolution, we'll ask you to do something else. That is called as restriction. So there is a difference between prohibition and restriction. This will be very useful for you in other chapters also. But coming back to the reality, what are we talking? First of all, they said that we are prohibiting public se paisa lena except as under this chapter. Matlab, whatever we have written in this chapter that you do, apart from that, you are prohibited from accepting any money from the public. Okay, got it, sir. Next important part. Conditions to accept deposits from member. Now we are talking about members only. We are not yet talking about public. Okay, what are the conditions? I have made a summary here. So what I have already made is a summary notes. उस summary में भी मैंने summary बनाया है. पहले you will have to pass a resolution. What resolution you will have to pass? You will have to pass an ordinary resolution. After that, you will make a circular and then send it to ROC for registering. Once ROC registers that circular, you will circulate that circular to member. How will you circulate it to member? You will send it to them via registered post acknowledgement due. बोलो एक बार अपने मुंह से registered post acknowledgement due. You'll send it via speed post. You'll send it via electronic mode, and you will also attach a statutory auditor ka certificate on that. On top of it, you'll attach a statutory auditor ka certificate, which I just showed to you. After that, you can accept deposit. You can accept deposit. The deposit can be secured or unsecured. It totally depends on you. And once you accept deposit, after that, you'll start creating deposit repayment reserve account. Okay. Now, whether this deposit is secured or unsecured, it is a concept. We will read about that. But one important point that I want to add here, once you accept the deposit now, within 21 days of that, you will have to issue a deposit receipt. What does it mean? Kabhi FD karaya hai? Have you ever done FD? Sir, we don't have any funds only. Where will we get surplus funds and where will we invest that FD? If we have surplus funds, we invest it in mutual fund. We are educated enough to understand mutual fund sahi hai. Now listen to me very carefully. Whenever you make some deposit, if I give money to deposit to Godrej, within 21 days of he accepting the deposit, he will send me a deposit receipt, confirmation that we have your deposit. Now, the steps that I mentioned above in this one box is now given in detail. Please try to understand as much as you can. Please stay with me. Okay. Now, listen to me very carefully. सबसे पहले you pass an ordinary resolution. You know all of them. I covered all the points in class. You will have to circulate it to the members. What will you circulate to the members? You will circulate in form DPT1 few things, and along with that you will attach a statutory auditor certificate, that is they have made no default, or even if they made any default, they have corrected and 5 years have lapsed since the date it was made good. Now along with the circular you will include a statement. What will that statement show? The financial position of the company, credit rating obtained, total number of depositors, previous deposit amount due, and other. Okay. Now, once you create the circular along with the statement, you will send it to the members via registered post, speed post, or electronic mode. And you will also publish it in the newspaper, which can be English and vernacular language. Vernacular language, which language? Vernacular. Which state ka vernacular language? The state where the registered office of the company is situated. Then you will also publish it in the website. If you have a website, please publish it. And along with that, attach a statutory auditor certificate, which either says that default has not been made, or if default was made, it was made good and 5 years have lapsed. Okay. After doing this, what is the validity of the circular? You remember I told you a concept that circular contains financial position. You cannot use financial position of 2011, 10-11 in the current circular, right? So your circular has to be updated. So there is a question about validity of the circular. How long will the circular be valid? So law says that the earliest of, I told you casually that the normal sense is that if it pertains to this financial year, then 6 months after the end of financial year, it will be valid. Okay, so how they have written this is, they have written 6 months from the closure of financial year in which it was issued. जिस financial year में वो issue हुआ था, the financial year in which it was issued. What do you mean by issue, sir? Issue means dispatch date. When you dispatch it मतलब print मार के dispatch कर दिया या email पे भेज दिया. Whenever you dispatch it, you will have to count 6 months from the end of that financial year, or date on which the financial statement is laid before company in the annual general meeting. There is something called as annual general meeting, which if, by the way, which if you have not heard yet, you will listen to it very soon. But annual general meeting is, पढ़ा है तुम लोगों ने पढ़ा है क्या एनुअल जनरल मीटिंग? हैव यू? प्लीज लेट मी नो. यूट्यूब में जो देख रहे हैं तुम लोग कमेंट में बताओ, क्या तुमने देखा है? क्या डू यू नो व्हाट एनुअल जनरल मीटिंग इज? हाँ जी सर. तो एनुअल जनरल मीटिंग, यस यू नो, मोस्ट ऑफ यू नो एनुअल जनरल मीटिंग में अगर आपका जब भी एनुअल जनरल मीटिंग होता है, यू ले डाउन योर फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट in front of that people in the meeting, and once that is done, your validity of circular expires. And if you were not able to hold the AGM in the due date, what is the due date for holding AGM, sir? The due date is 30th September. So for financial year 2022 and 23, the AGM will have to be held by 30th September 2023. When your financial year ends, after that you get a time period of 6 months. But however, if AGM was not held, then the last date for holding AGM, whichever is earliest of these dates, the validity of circular will expire. Basically, they are saying that 6 months from the close of financial year. So the financial year in which it was issued, उसके 6 महीने बाद तक आप क्या कर सकते हो? 6 महीने बाद तक आप in which it was issued, 6 महीने बाद तक आप उसको वैलिड रख सकते हो, उसके बाद आपको छोड़ना पड़ेगा. ठीक है. Now, fresh circular in each succeeding financial year. For every succeeding financial year, you will have to issue a new circular, fresh circular now. Please don't use the old circular. Okay. Now, so you made a circular and then you were about to send it to member. But before sending it to member, a copy of the circular will be filed with ROC. When will you file with ROC? So the Act and ICI says that within 30 days before the date of issuance. So before you issue that circular to the members, within 30 days before the date of issuance. मतलब आप issue करने के 30 दिन पहले आप लेकर के चले जाओ किसके पास? ROC के पास. Deposit repayment reserve, the most important that we just read, and then statutory auditor certificate that we also read, no default, or whether default has been made good and 5 years have lapsed. Next. Sir, there is no comment section on YouTube during live lectures. Sir, can you upload your notes? सूर्या, जो PDF बना हुआ है मेरा, PDF मैंने अपलोड कर दिया है, और जो ये हैंड रिटन नोट्स है मैं ये क्लास के तुरंत बाद अपलोड कर दूंगा, डोंट वरी. ठीक है. Okay, I'll check with ICI if they can turn on comment on YouTube from the next classes. But अभी मेरी बात सुनो. Sir, the last important point, ये तुमने नहीं सुना, ये नया है, सुनो. You have not heard this. Listen to me very carefully. Sir, if any student has problem with Hindi, because I end up speaking Hindi in between थोड़ा सा, जैसे अभी मैंने थोड़ा बोला. So if you have any problem with Hindi, what you will have to believe is that everything that I say in Hindi, I convert it into English, except for some references which cannot be converted into English. For example, there is a very famous called Hindustani Bhau. He says, "Ruko zara, sabar karo." Abhi, how will I convert that into English? How will I say, wait people? I can't say, right? So, apart from those irrelevant things, everything that I end up saying in Hindi will be converted into English eventually. So don't worry. Okay. Listen to me very carefully. Now, providing security plus creating charge. What am I talking? This is last point about security. So if you are raising a deposit, listen to me very carefully. We read the form DPT1 of Godrej. Okay. And we said that we saw that Godrej has written that it is an unsecured deposit. That is, you are not getting any security against this deposit. So if we default in repayment, it is your loss and nothing can be done. Alternatively, what could be the option? Alternatively, the option could be Godrej could have raised secured deposit. What does it mean? Godrej would say that members, please give us money, deposit. In return, what we will do is we have a property. We have a building. Where do we have this building? We have this building in CP, Connaught Place, Delhi. This building, we will create it in your favor. We will create this building in your favor. And we will enter into an agreement wherein we will write that this money is say 1 crore. Okay. If Godrej defaults in repayment of this 1 crore rupees, this building can be sold by the members, and whatever money they get out of this building, they can use it to repay their own deposits. So this is called creating a charge. This is called creating a charge in favor of the members. We will read about this in very length, in detail in the next chapter, but this is creating a charge in favor of the members. So if you are creating a charge in favor of the members, it becomes a secured deposit. If you're not creating any charge in favor of the members, it becomes an unsecured deposit. My question to you, can you issue unsecured deposits? Can you raise unsecured deposits? The answer is yes. We just saw practically Godrej did it. उसने किया रहेगा तो सही ही होएगा ना. If he must have done it, it must be correct only. So now, if you see in the steps that has to be taken by whom, the steps that has to be taken by your deposit company, they will have to ensure that if they are providing security and creating a charge, they should do it immediately. Or if it is an unsecured deposit, they will have to quote so everywhere. Like everywhere that they are going and talking about this deposit, they will have to write in bracket unsecured, unsecured, unsecured. Okay. Now, एक question. शर्त है गलत जवाब दोगे. One question. I bet you will answer it incorrectly. लगी 100 की, लगी 100 की. चलो. If you give the right answer, if you give the wrong answer, you will pay me 100 rupees. If you give the right answer, आप मेरे को 100 रुपए दे देना. ठीक है. चलो. What is the question, sir? What is the question? What is the question? The question is, a company called Godrej issued a deposit of 100 crore. So it raised money from public for a deposit of 100 crore. But against this 100 crore, it was partly secured. Partly secured as in what? Only 50 crore of this deposit was secured. The remaining was unsecured. Okay. Now my question is pure deposit ko, will you call it as secured deposit or will you call it as unsecured deposit? So the question, in summary, the question is whether partly secured deposit will be considered as secured deposit or unsecured deposit. The answer is it will all be considered as unsecured deposit. Even if the deposit is partly secured, it will be considered as unsecured deposit. And once you consider it as unsecured deposit, everywhere you will have to quote and say that this is unsecured, this is unsecured, this is unsecured. I hope you understand that. If you have problem with Hindi, I can also speak Telugu. Naku Teluguloni konchum matladam vachu. Understood? Chalo. Next. So these are the 6 points that you will have to remember, because these are 6 common points. Can you just tell me the headers? First, resolution. Second, circular to be sent to members. But before you send that circular to members, you will have to send it to ROC for registration at least 30 days before you send it to send it to members. Then you will have to create a deposit repayment reserve account. But before you create a deposit repayment reserve account, you will have to accept the deposit, right? And when you accept the deposit, you will have to see whether it is secured or unsecured. If it is secured deposit, you will have to create a charge in favor of them. But if it is unsecured deposit, you will have to do what? You will have to quote so everywhere, and along with the circular that you are circulating, you will have to attach a statutory auditor certificate. And then once you accept the deposit, then you will take care of the deposit repayment reserve. Now, sir, my question, what if a company fails to repay the deposit? For example, Godrej took 100 crore rupees, but now it is not able to repay the deposit. What will Godrej do? What will the depositors do? Sir, who are depositors? Depositors are basically those member or those public which is giving money to the company. Right. So what will the depositor do? The depositor will go and complain to NCLT. Who is NCLT, sir? Who is NCLT? NCLT na, aap samajh lo, family court hai. It is a family court. Like you have a family doctor, right? वो तो अमीर लोग का होता है ना, हमारा किधर होता है? Are in general, we have seen in movies, right? There are family doctors. So like people are family doctors. Similarly, company law said that I want a court of my own. Upon ka personal court. So that is what NCLT. What is NCLT? NCLT means National Company Law Tribunal. You'll read about NCLT in great detail in your CA final. But National Company Law Tribunal means what? National Company Law Tribunal means it is a court. It is kind of a court which listens to all the cases related to Companies Act. So if you have any complaint to file under Companies Act, you'll go to National Company Law Tribunal. So what will happen if depositor had given their money to Godrej. Now Godrej made a default. It did not pay that money. Then depositors will go to NCLT. Depositors will go to NCLT and say, NCLT, Godrej is not able to repay my deposits. What will happen after that is Godrej will then instruct NCLT will then instruct Godrej to make the payment. And in addition to making the payment, it can also order to pay for any loss or damages. Any loss or damages, it can say that, boss, you have to pay 5% extra or 2% extra or whatever. It can also order such things, or any other order it may deem fit. Such order will be given by NCLT to Godrej. Okay, next. Along with that, not only just the order, along with that, there is a provision of penal interest also. Penal interest, what is the amount, sir? 18% per annum for the overdue period. For the overdue period, you will have to pay 18% for annum. So for example, you took a debt on 31st March 2022. It was supposed to be repaid on 30th April 2023. Now, if you're not able to repay it on 2023, you go one day beyond, it becomes overdue. So for every day it is overdue, you'll pay it 18% per annum rate. 18% per annum rate pay, you will pay the overdue amount. Did you understand? Did you understand, guys? Did you understand? Yes, investor will get. So what are the consequences if you fail to repay the deposit? One, you can go and complain to the NCLT. Second, you will also be eligible for a 18% interest. Sir, this 18% interest per annum will be over and above the normal interest. Matlab kya? If Godrej has taken 100 crore loan and it said that we will give you 8% interest per annum, and the loan period was idhar se lekar ke idhar tak. So it is paying 8% per annum. Now it was due to be repaid here. Now if it got defaulted, if it got delayed, for this delay period, you will get the 8% also, which you are supposed to get, and you'll get additional 18% per annum. Guys, it is not important, exam mein nahi puchenge, but I'm just trying to explain you. Okay. Now the next point. Sir, for how long can Godrej raise deposit? Can it say that I'm taking it for 50 years? Can it say that I'm taking it for 100 years? Can it say that I'm taking it for 10 days, 15 days? Logically soch now. Let's talk about 10 days, 15 days first. Boss, you're doing so much to raise a deposit. You're preparing a circular, you're sending it to ROC, you're getting a statutory auditor certificate, and so many things. What sense will it make if you're taking it only for 15 days? So 15 days is too less. So we will have to settle for a minimum number of months. And when I talk about 50 years, but 50 years is not for deposit. You can instead go and raise equity. 50 years का कोई deposit होता है क्या? No, it doesn't make sense at all. So we will also have to fix a maximum tenure. So the tenure that they fixed was minimum 6 months and maximum 36 months. So minimum 6 years, maximum 3 years. Minimum 6 months and maximum 36 months. What did I say, sir? You can raise a deposit for a minimum of 6 months. Minimum of 6 months and a maximum of 36 months. मतलब 36 months मतलब क्या हो गया? 3 years. You cannot raise a deposit for 4 years also. And you cannot raise the deposits for 2 months also. Okay. But now a problem came. Sometimes company wanted to raise deposits just for 3 months. They said, "Arey, we want only for 3 months yaar, or we want only for 4 months, or we want only for 5 months. कुछ तो उपाय बताओ यार, ऐसा कैसा नहीं चलेगा ऐसा." So law said generally 6 months minimum, maximum 36 months, but there are certain cases in which we can let you raise deposits for a minimum of 3 months also. What is the case, sir? In this case, if you see tenure. When I talk about tenure, law says that repayable on demand cannot be done. What is repayable on demand? Now, for example, if I go and make an FD now, the tenure is usually 10 months, 10, 11 months, 12 months, 5 years, whatever you want to. But those FDs are repayable on demand. It means that whenever I want, I can go and break that FD. Actually, it is not repayable on demand. I would say the money that is in my savings account. The money that is in my savings account is repayable on demand. I can anytime go and demand my money back. So issuing deposits which are repayable on demand is absolutely prohibited. It is not allowed only. You cannot raise deposits which are repayable on demand. Okay. Then you cannot raise deposit which is repayable for less than 6 months. So minimum 6 months ka tenure chahiye, and repayable after 36 months is also not allowed. So maximum 36 months ka tenure hai. But when we talk about minimum 6 months ka tenure, there is an exception to it. Sir, law na, the whole game of law is exception. इतना कंफ्यूजन आप एक्सेप्शन पढ़ के भी नहीं होगे जितना आपने इंसेप्शन देख के हुए होंगे. क्या बोला मैंने? आई सेड जितना कंफ्यूजन आप हो गए ना एक्सेप्शन पढ़ के, उतना आपने तो इंसेप्शन देख के भी यू वुड नॉट हैव गॉट सो मच कंफ्यूज्ड. So, sir, screen is not clearly visible. It looks like foggy. Foggy. बारिश का सीजन है इसलिए. ठीक है. सुशील, clear है. Guys, listen to me very carefully. There is an exception to the 6 months rule. What is the exception to the 6 month rule? Deposit repayable on or after 3 months can also be issued, provided that such deposit is less than or equal to 10% of paid up share capital plus free reserve plus security premium account. Sir, let me introduce you to something. लेवल अप करते हैं, थोड़ा ऊपर जाते हैं. सर क्या ब्रेक, क्लास खत्म होने का टाइम हो रहा है, लेवल अप क्या होता है? अरे सुन तो लो, एक बार ही सुन तो लो क्या जा रहा है तुम्हारा. 5 मिनट में भी 5 घंटे का काम हो सकता है. मेरी बात सुनो. लिसन टू मी वेरी केयरफुली. आई एम जस्ट गोइंग टू एक्सप्लेन यू वन कॉन्सेप्ट. ठीक है सर. देयर इज समथिंग कॉल्ड एज पेड अप शेयर कैपिटल प्लस फ्री रिजर्व plus security premium account. There is something called as paid up share capital plus free reserve plus security premium account. What is this? This is basically your money in the company. When you talk about your money in the company, what is your money in the company? What is members' money in the company? What is equity in the company? It is basically paid up share capital plus free reserve plus security premium account. If you understand what is paid up share capital, what is free reserve, what is security premium account, you will understand this very clearly. But just to give you an example, if your shares are of face value 10 and you are issuing it, issue price is rupees 100. So this rupees 10 will go in your paid up share capital. The excess rupees 90 that you receive from your members will go in share premium account, and whatever profit you earn each year, that will go in your free reserve. So boss, this money is yours, this money is yours, and whatever profit you are earning, that is also yours. So this is called as your equity. So can I say you, this is the accurate actual equity. So this is a very important limit, sir. You will see this at least 100 times in your CA final CA journey. Paid up share capital plus free reserve plus security premium account. Okay, now if your total deposits that you have taken, where was I was here. If the deposits that you have taken, the tenure of which is less than 6 months but which is more than 3 months, if such deposit is less than 10% of the paid up share capital plus free reserve plus security premium account, we are fine with it. So for example, if your paid up share capital is 10 crore, security premium is 100 crore, and your free reserve is 90 crore. What is the total coming to? It is coming to 200 crore. Iska 10% kitna hota hai? 20 crore. So if the deposit which is maturing after 3 months but less than 6 months, if there is a deposit which is maturing after 3 months but less than 6 months, if it is less than or equal to 20 crores, boss, we are fine with it. क्यों? क्योंकि यार 20 करोड़ तो हम दे ही देंगे, क्योंकि देखो ना पैसे कितने हैं हमारे पास. देखो तो सही, 10 crore, 100 crore, 90 crore, we have so much of money. 10% तो अपन आराम से दे ही देंगे. So if you want to raise a deposit which is for minimum 3 months but up to 6 months, you can do it, but you'll have to check this 10% condition and short-term fund requirement of the company. You are raising this money because you have short-term fund requirement. So can I say this? Do you see this colorful chart? All I am saying is a loan, a deposit of tenure 0 month to 3 months is not allowed at all. From 3 months to 6 months, you can do, but there is a limit up to 10% of paid up share capital plus free reserve plus SPA. 6 months to 36 months, bindas karo. 36 months to infinity, not allowed at all under any case. 3 years से ज्यादा, 36 months से ज्यादा नहीं हो सकता. क्या नहीं हो सकता आपका tenure? ठीक है. I hope you understood. We will have to stop the class. We will continue in the next session. I think in the next session we will spend first 1 hour 15 minutes to finish this chapter, and then we will start a new chapter. For those who have some doubts, can stay back. For those who understood and want to go and rest, please leave. Thanks a lot for attending the session. I hope you liked it. Do let your friends know about this session. These sessions are really helpful, and this is as good as whatever you get outside. So feel free to feel free to let your friends know. And also a very important announcement, I'll check with ICI, but we will be doing a revision on YouTube of this whole chapter 5 once we are done with this chapter 5, because revision is the whole game, boss. If you're reading, no matter how much you read, if you are not revising it, you'll not be able to retain it. So once we are done in the next class, in the first 1 hour 15 minutes, we will revise this session on a YouTube session, and I think it will hardly take us 30 minutes max to revise this. Okay, so either we will revise it in ICI ka CA Tube channel, or if not, then we will revise it in my channel Shubham Singhal naam se. There is a YouTube channel, you can follow that, but there we will revise. And If not today, some other day we will definitely revise it. So just stay tuned to the channel. And similarly, we will do for chapter 6 also and every other chapter that I'll be taking. Okay. If you want, you also let me know. We can do for other chapters also that I am not taking. I think chapter 1 to 4 ka revision has already been uploaded on my channel, but other channel revisions also we will put if you want it. Okay. Have a good day. Take care. Be productive and enjoy your day. Bye bye. For those who have doubt, can stay back and please feel free to shoot your doubts. No doubts लेते हैं students को, फिर we'll finish it. In 5 minutes we'll finish it. Let students post their doubts. Himanshu, is credit rating something like credit score? Not really. Credit score is individual specific. Credit rating is basically instrument specific. If you're coming with a bond, you're coming with debentures, so instrument specific credit rating. Sir, you're so awesome. Completely understand. Thank you so much. Good, glad that you liked it. Sir, I had already completed 6th chapter from your previous session. Today's session was very much energetic than watching recorded sessions. 2.5 got over so soon. Thank you, sir. Good day. Thank you, Shreya. Bye. Good day. Sir, why we need to deposit DRR in scheduled bank? Will interest? Yes, Raghavan, interest will be provided in. Sir, what is your Telegram channel name? I will check with Institute whether I can share it, Ayush, and then I'll share it. Sir, point 7 of amount not considered as deposits, can the amount be invested if the borrowing rate is less than the investing rate? In point 7. In point 7, director. Kya? In the point 7, which is director, can the amount be invested if the borrowing rate is less than the investing rate? No. Even at that, no, you cannot. Mayur, you cannot. If you have to do that kind of calculation, you go and invest in mutual funds. But you cannot invest even if the investing rate is more than borrowing rate. You cannot. Sir जी मजा आ गया. Very good, Harsh. मेरे को भी बहुत मजा आया. NBFC accepts NCD is that comes under acceptance of deposit. NBFC accepts non-convertible debenture. Nalini, I'll share with you tomorrow. This whole provisions are not relevant for your NBFCs. Okay. Deposit from FII is not considered as a deposit as it is from a foreign source. Yes, you're right. Sir, I have so much difficulty to study this law subject. Please give some tips. We will make tips. We'll make interca tips also. Please make revision videos of chapter 7. Also provide notes of chapter 7. Done. Sir, please explain me form DPT3 in next class. We will discuss DPT3. We haven't started it yet. We will discuss in detail in next class. Thank you for the amazing session. You're welcome. Chapter 12. 1, 2, 3, 4 have amendments, or we can refer batch 4 session. You can definitely refer batch 4 session. There are no amendments. Sir, please explain the difference between rules and sections at least once. I won't forget my lifetime. Kal I'll do one, not now. आप एक बार वो rules और sections का difference go to CA Tube channel and search for batch 4 जो इसके पहले का batch था उसमें मेरा first lecture था law का. You can watch that first lecture. You'll get a lot of information. Okay. Chalo guys, I don't think, there are some more doubt. Sir, if the company is incorporated in the month of Feb, then what will be the financial year ending to held the first AGM? So Kaveri, financial year is defined in law. Okay. What is financial year? Financial year is that if your company is incorporated on or before 31st December. So this is 31st December. If your company is incorporated, say 31st December 2022, then your first financial year will end on 31st March 2023. But if your company is incorporated after December of this year, then the financial year will complete on next 31st March 2024. So financial year has to be minimum 3 months. And it can be maximum 15 months financial year. So in your case, Kaveri, your company was incorporated in February. Let's say it was February 2022. तो मार्च में तो खत्म नहीं हो सकता, बहुत शॉर्ट पीरियड हो जाएगा. So it will end in March 2023. March 2023. So your financial year will be for 13 months. Now your first AGM will be held after the end of this financial year, which is 6 months from 31st March 2023. So it will held on 30th September 2023. Did you understand? Mayur, I'm using iPad. Can a deposit be raised before repaying previous deposit as the due date for such fall after fresh deposit? Yes, absolutely, Manchu. You can always raise deposits when your previous deposits are outstanding because it is not due yet. Obviously, absolutely. Vanity is asking to make revision in English. थोड़ा English में ना क्या होता है वो exam के पहले you are not able to focus on that on English, but we will try. I'll try my best to keep it as much as English oriented as I can. ठीक है, चलो guys, thanks a lot for your time. I will see you tomorrow. Please have a good day and do let your friends know that they can attend this session. Thank you guys. Bye bye. See you.